Just as fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer, gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, do you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer, gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to rest.
Yeah. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the case may be. I don't know, Jiminy. I don't know. It's from a show called OA or something. And people were trying to explain it to me on Twitter, but I've just I don't understand. I don't understand. If someone wants to come in here and please explain it to me, I'll drop the link in the chat just so you can come in here and explain it to me in a way that makes sense, because sometimes you just watch something and you're like, I literally can't understand the context that would make that make any sense at all. And that's one of those things. So guy says, I think it involves string theory. Okay, sure. String theory and modern dance often coalesce into stopping school shootings. I can see how that would yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna need a drink for this stream. Welcome to, can you see that? It's like it's rum and vodka and obviously melted ice, but look, like the rum's floating on can you see from that angle? The rum's like floating on top of the vodka, which I think is kind of neat, except I don't want to drink the rum first and then the vodka. I'd want it to mix together. So how's everybody doing tonight? I know it's been a whole day since I streamed, but I don't know. I just haven't gotten a lot done today, and I just, for some reason, I mean, it might be the finger. I'll tell you what, having a broken finger and having to draw, it's like I'm drawing and I'm holding the pencil like this, right? And it becomes it's slow, and I'm not getting the level of precision I would prefer to have on a regular basis. So it's really just kills my motivation to draw, and I have things I need to do. So am I interrupting the Jack Show? Heavens to Murgatroyd. They're still doing that. I haven't watched a Jack Show in, I can't even remember the last time I watched a Jack Show. I think Kelsey might have been on. I don't know. Guy from Red Bank, I don't think they were trying to stop the shooter. I think they were trying to escape. Hey, that word sounds just like escape. It's hard for me to explain. Okay, but here's what would have happened. You got a school shooter. Somebody pops up. He would have gotten shot. Right? I'm pretty sure that's... Oh my gosh, dude. Do you guys remember the 1984 McDonald's massacre in which part of San Ysidro, California, San Diego? I remember that from my childhood, and lo and behold, there's a documentary about it now, and it's like super grim. It is like so. They show all the footage, like the news footage, and they show all the bodies, and they show this is gonna get really dark really quick. Maybe I should stop. The McDonald's massacre started this entire mass shooting thing. Yeah, and like it's funny because they never said his name. They're like, you know how we're gonna stop this from happening again? We're gonna not say the shooter's name so that he doesn't get to. We have a thing called Google, and if anybody wants to know the name of the McDonald's massacre shooter, you can Google it. So, but yeah, that was brutal. Oh my gosh! And then they tried to blame it on the cops for not going in and all this stuff. How old was the McDonald's massacre? It was 1984. I remember because I was living in San Jose at the time. Well, I guess that worked. Yeah, that worked great, huh, Jiminy? Yeah, I remember because I was like 13 at the time, living in San Jose. So I wasn't here in San Diego when it happened. But holy cow, that was some like legit crazy. For those who don't know, the guy went in. Here's a weird thing though. Dude went in with a shotgun, a pistol, I think it was like a Browning, and an Uzi, right? So, I mean, not to get my conspiracy theory things up, but in the footage of the murder scene of the McDonald's, they showed like a .323, a rifle round, right? And I'm like, he had a 12 gauge shotgun, 12 gauge cartridges. He had I think a Browning 9mm or some sort of a hand pistol, Browning or a Ruger or something. Anyways, 9mm. And he had an Uzi, 9mm. Where'd the rifle round come from? Why is there a random rifle round inside? I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, it was a huge massacre. I think I can't remember what they said. Like how many? I'm gonna look it up. How many people died in the McDonald's? How many people? God dang it! My typing sucks with this finger. Died in the McDonald's. 21 people fatally killed, fatally shot, and 19 wounded. So 40 people got shot. That was crazy. This was before automatic weapons production for civilians was banned in the USA. Yeah. 1984. Isn't that when Reagan got shot too? What year did Reagan get shot? I didn't spell shot right with my finger. Oh no, that was 1981. Yeah. So when was the assault weapons ban? We're putting some stuff together here, people. That was 1990. Is that the right one? Federal assault weapons banned 1994. So that was a good 10 years after the fact. Now, how many large-scale mass killings were there between the McDonald's massacre and the assault weapons ban? And I know Reagan signed some gun control laws into effect as well, right? What were the gun control laws? You know, it's so much easier on my phone. I just like this and I hit Google. What was the assault weapons ban that Reagan signed? What about you? No, wait, that was 94. No, the one that Reagan signed. What gun control ban did Reagan sign?
According to Wikipedia, named after Republican Assemblyman Don Mulford and signed into law by Governor of California Ronald Reagan, the bill was crafted with the goal of disarming members of the Black Panther Party who were conducting armed patrols in Oakland neighborhoods in what would later be termed cop watching.
Interesting, isn't it, Jeff?
Yes. What were we discussing?
Gun control.
Oh, yeah. Gun
The
control.
real drama.
The gun control means using both hands.
That's right. But well, we're talking about the McDonald's massacre in 1984. Do you remember that? You're old enough.
No, I don't remember it.
Aren't you older than me?
Yeah, but I still don't remember it.
Okay.
Massacre here, massacre there.
1984 McDonald's massacre. 40 people got shot. 21 died. 19 were injured.
I
Here
vaguely
in San
remember it.
Diego, San Ysidro, down by the border.
Yeah, but that's California.
And
They're too busy shooting deer up here.
I was living in San Jose at the time, so granted that's still California, but that was like national news. Friggin' 40 people got shot in a McDonald's. You don't? How do you not remember that? How old are you?
I vaguely remember it. I do vaguely remember.
How old
it.
are you?
I'm like 50. Oh, I'm going to be 58 this year.
58.
Yeah,
So you were
I graduated in '84.
18 when that. Oh, you were probably busy paying attention to chicks.
No, well, the other thing too is that do you remember that there was a post office shooting in Royal Oak, Michigan, where the term "going postal" comes from?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that actually was near my family's business.
Now, how come it didn't? The saying wasn't going Mickey D.
Because it doesn't ring.
Going Big Mac. I'm gonna go Big Mac on that place.
So you're changing the drama now.
Well, I'm just saying, right? You could have said going postal. You could
Going
have.
Big Mac.
I'm gonna go Big Mac. That actually sounds cooler. By the way, I made a nice new batch of beef jerky today.
Ooh, nice.
Teriyaki tri-tip. So good. I make amazing jerky.
Why isn't
too.
Jiminy in here?
I don't know, Jiminy. Why aren't you in here?
Yes, Jiminy, why aren't you in here?
Jiminy, why aren't you in here? This is the drama that Jiminy's not in here. So what have you been doing today, Potts?
Well, I made the mistake of going into work.
Yeah, you were absent yesterday because you
Yeah,
were
I
too
was
sick.
ill.
Too ill to hang out with your friends. That's fine.
And I'm still too ill, and I'm afraid to go to bed because I only get like about 4 hours worth of sleep.
Jiminy's about to go to bed too. He's got to get up in a few hours. Wah. Jiminy is also old. It's fun that occasionally someone comes on the stream that is actually older than me, because too often I'm in crowds where I'm the oldest person, and that gets kind of boring.
Then I checked Twitter. That was a mistake.
I've been on Twitter a little too much today.
Yes, you have.
Anything to comment on?
No, I have no opinion. I'm Switzerland.
Are you?
Yes.
So you're no good to anyone.
Bingo.
All right.
I'm proud of it.
All right. Fuzzy says Jiminy is an old. Jeff just happened to have gotten old. I don't understand that, but that's fine. So do you watch the OA?
Oh, is that like a Netflix thing?
I don't know what it is. It's that weird video I showed at the beginning of the show. and I have no idea what it's about. The end of the season 1 finale of the OA. Other Angel. That's what OA stands for.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was built up throughout the season. The scene does have full context within the show. Mr. Jeremy Turner on Twitter is trying to explain to me why this scene makes sense.
Is that the part where they're doing their dance move?
To avoid getting shot by the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great concept, but I was like, okay, yeah,
Guy from Red Bank says it's a great scene. Hey. I
didn't like it.
guess, hey, context, right? It's like people taking my words out of context and trying to make me sound like I say things I never said.
Well, that's sort of wrapping itself back around to checking Twitter, huh?
Oh, is that what I'm doing?
Interesting how you close that circle like that.
I know. It's like I'm a wizard at these things.
Yes. Doug got mighty feisty.
Yeah, I talked to Doug today. About that and some other things. But yeah. We're having a good old time, man. We're having a good old time watching let's just say my Schadenfreude cup doth runneth over. Guy from Red Bank says, I don't know what the show is about. And you still think that's a great scene? Should I play it again?
The story starts out as like a person who is, I don't know whether they died and they came back to life, or they were like, I can't remember whether they died and they came back to life, or they were in a mental institution, and they started to attract a following of people that for like different backgrounds, and they all kind of got drawn into this person's, I don't want to say delusion, because the delusion ends up being actually real.
Spoilers.
And that's where the dance moves come
So you've
from.
seen it?
Yeah, I saw it. I'm like,
Oh.
Okay, that's great. I didn't like
That's
it.
great.
That's great. I didn't like this series.
Any have you been watching any good series?
No, I've been doing nothing but writing and hanging out on Royce's Gilded, reading what I wrote, making videos about what I wrote.
I haven't been watching
Making
Royce's
blog
channel. How's he doing?
He's doing pretty good. He's getting he had 3 or 4 shows where he's gotten 50 likes consistently.
Yeah.
So he had Ripa on the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He has some other large people coming on. So he's getting attention.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is good. What's his channel? A Drink with Crazy?
Yep.
Yeah, I have not stopped by there lately. All right, he's up to 2.58 thousand subscribers. Very nice. Rice.
So he's doing well. And the whole Anvil thing's doing well. It's a very good, supportive community. No drama.
Oh, so this stream would be terrible for him.
No, we kind of let the drama stay with him because he's so good at it. But the
You said no drama.
No, he creates drama. And
Royce creates drama.
Yes. I shouldn't say creates drama. He's very expressive. He's dramatic. Not necessarily drama.
How's Rose doing?
Pretty good. She's still doing her animal skull things.
I know, but she just went through a health scare. What's the update on that?
I don't know. I didn't ask. I think she's okay.
All right. Well, I guess I can't say I'm any better than you because I don't know. I just saw it on Twitter.
So they yeah, there was a scare. They think it might have been a busted cyst. Now you remind me. It might have been a busted cyst. And so they celebrated their Christmas over New Year. And
I thought it was interesting because I made I know she's an atheist, right?
Yep.
And I was arguing with an atheist, and I was making a point about that was against atheism, and she liked it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on here?
I don't think she's a devout atheist.
She just doesn't put that much thought into it.
Maybe more agnostic.
Yeah.
And we've had some. The Soka sisters are fairly. They're apparently they did a video or a film or something. They're somewhat regulars, as is Carol Brown, who's part of Eric July's
Right.
Eric July's company. So their influence is growing in there, and that's pretty much it.
So tell me what you know about the Soka sisters, because not to, talk badly about anybody. The stuff I've seen from them is not the kind of stuff that I would think these are who I'm gonna hire for the culture war.
No, they're I don't know, they're filmmakers. They do horror movies, B-horror movies. Canadian. That's all I know about them.
Well, that's the worst part, isn't it?
I'm too busy writing and reviewing and hiring people to do covers and stuff like that to even pay too much attention to it.
Oh gosh, dang! You just reminded me.
What?
I'm supposed to do a novel cover for this guy, but I have to read the book first, and I'm like,
well, can't he tell you what he wants on the cover?
I know, right? He's like, here, read the book. I'm like, could you just give me a description of what you want on the cover?
Yeah, just give you
maybe some character descriptions,
I gave a certain person, namely Jiminy, a basic
Jiminy,
idea.
You're being talked about.
A basic idea, and he ran with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he did a good job. And as soon as I get my son working on that video and finishing up for it, everybody will be able to see it.
Jiminy's the only one in the chat who's responded to the what are you watching question. Reacher, Spy X Family, and Not Echo. And he says, I do good stuff. Welcome to the stage, Matthew Weldon.
I'm throwing off the balance of this force. That is...
No, you have become the foundation of our upside down pyramid.
Are you sick too, Weldon?
No, I just ate, and I'm like,
Oh.
I'm just a little hacky, or from all the stuff I just shoved in my maw.
I was just telling Jeff how I made delicious beef jerky. Tri-tip beef jerky with I made a teriyaki marinade one along with the Santa Maria marinade that I always do.
Man, tri-tip, that sounds awesome.
It is.
I've never, I can't honestly say I've ever even had tri-tip in my life. I could be wrong. I might have, maybe once. But,
dude, I eat tri-tip at least 3 times a month.
Doesn't tri-tip usually come in little baby chunks? Or am I don't know.
No. I mean, if you go get it at Costco, it comes in like a big triangle. That's why it's called tri-tip. And really, it's a fantastic cut of meat. But the fact that it's fat on one side and then it tapers and it's really inconsistent in size, so you can't really cut it into decent sized steaks. I think that's why they sell it for cheaper, because it's generally a very, very good, very tasty, very marbled cut of meat. And
Well, I'm gonna explore that. I just been getting into like some really good ground beef for like these burgers that I like to. I'll be putting together these my grilled cheese deluxe. And I just been experimenting with all kinds of like other stuff, meats and stuff to go along with my grilled cheese. Anyways, we are the tri-tip tonight. Then I guess.
We are the tri-tip. Just the tip, boys.
Sorry, I'm gonna stop hacking in a second. Sorry, I'm late. I had to spring a leak, and the zipper got stuck.
Well, Weldon, I know you wanted to come in here and talk drama. What do you got?
Freaking oh yeah, I love the drama. I can't get enough of the drama. I'm just trying to figure out what I wanted to do tonight while we sort this drama out.
Yeah, I was thinking about actually working on my NFT collection, but I'm not so sure. I might just hang out, sip on my drink.
Yeah, every time I think about getting work done, sometimes I can get some work done in a weird way, but it's so weird, you know. You look at a daunting thing, and you're like, where do I even start? Sometimes, and then
You guys want to see where I put my teriyaki tri-tip jerky? The Caesar's bag. I like to keep my jerky in a paper bag so that it doesn't, no moisture condenses, so it can continue to dry out. Sorry, go on. Pleasant Creatures, so are we here to talk about the Pie Man? I'll talk about whatever Matt wants to talk about, but I'm not going to bring up what the Pie Man is doing.
It's been a long time since I had some pie. Man, I try to keep up with stuff, but I just can't keep up with stuff because I like keeping up with stuff. But it's so impossible to sort through Twitter these days.
I don't mind talking about sort of Comicsgate in general. Like, you pay attention to this stuff, right, Matt?
I watch quite a bit. It's so weird, like how it's so weird how many people are involved around this area that I know. I mean, I just saw a super chat from a dude. I never thought I'd see a super chat from on I can't remember what the show was, but a friend of mine, he's got campaigns he's trying to get up and running too. But yeah, just so wild to see how many people are involved in what's going on all these fronts. You know,
that was so vague. It's as if you didn't say anything at all.
No, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. No, it's a funny thing. You know, people who have books up and coming, people who are just hanging out to watch, or motivated, you know, artists and writers and all that other stuff. But I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to lay down a basis for everything. It's just so overwhelming. It's cool that you got to talk to Doug today. It's been a long time since I talked to Doug.
Yeah, he actually picks up the phone when I call, you know.
Doug really helped me out years ago. He threw a closeout stream for my second Punchline trade. Just out of nowhere, he called me. He's like, "Hey, let's do you a solid." And speaking of, we gotta get the third Punchline trade campaign up and running soon too. So I got a ton of work that I gotta figure out. I gotta figure out page counts and quotes for printers and all that stuff coming up. But
so who owns Punchline?
Oh, it's me and Bill. I remember weird story. I remember when we were sitting in a burrito shop, coming up with the idea way many years ago for the Punchline book. We didn't have Bill had a couple of names on a list, and I said I want to name it Punchline because I mean Bill fancies himself like a little bit of a humor. He likes to write humor in when he can, and it's a superhero book with lots of punching and action,
and they're doing lots of lines,
lots of line action, punching action. So I was like, punch
drawn with lines, speed lines. That's the lines.
And I was like, come on. He said, no, I hate it. He said no chance. And mainly, I think maybe his reasoning at the time was because I guess there was if you Google search stuff, you want to. That's the thing. If someone Googles something, is it gonna get? Is this stuff that you guys have ever considered naming a book depending on the Google search results?
No.
And I said, I said it'll be better that way, and he didn't say different. But we left the burrito shop in a rage. No, I'm just kidding. And I went home and I made the logo for the book anyway. And I made the Punchline logo and I sent it to him, even though he told me he didn't want to name it that. And that's basically history. I named the book, designed a lot of the characters, and Bill's awesome though. He there's so many characters that he just told me he's like, yeah, I just want like Atomic Butterfly. She just has this really cool energy wing thing, and she just has a black suit, super simple and stuff. But yeah, weird comic book lore, comic artist,
Weird, wacky stuff. Comic artist. Would you say those are comic artist pro secrets?
Comic artist best kept secrets.
Like page rates and whatnot?
Keeping comic artist pro secrets. That's what nope.
Would you say a page rate is a comic artist professional secret?
It's one of the best kept secrets, because I remember decades or a decade ago, and even until today, like looking around for what a page rate should be, what you should quote somebody. Whenever I was thinking about becoming a comic artist 10 years ago, 15 years
All right.
ago. And
It's kind of an important thing to know, especially if you're considering getting into this profession.
Right. I thought it'd be cool to know, but it really is one of the best kept secrets. And then again, when it comes down to it, it was a massive waste of time because everybody's different, and everybody's depending on. And one of the biggest things I learned in comic books was that I always thought was silly at first was networking, but it really is the thing you should focus on the most, because it depends on who you know.
Yeah, what I think is funny is oftentimes you'll get these. I think I just saw one on Facebook the other day. This oh gosh darn it, was that on my Twitter? Somebody was saying, oh yeah, it was in my room. It was freaking. I'm not gonna say who it was, but somebody was saying, oh, like everybody should get paid a living wage and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I laugh because first of all, comics don't sell enough to pay a living wage, right? I mean, not in the 90s they did. In the 90s they did, and actually page rates did go up in the 90s. So it's not like they just didn't. They did, but like probably the top 20 books at Marvel and DC subsidize the rest of the books that come out of Marvel and DC.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. So it's like you might have. There's only like 3 or 4 books that print over 100,000 copies
that are profitable.
Right? No, I mean profitable. It costs at average professional rates. It costs roughly $15,000 for the production of a book. That's not including printing. That's not including editorial.
Really? Oh, that's not including those things.
Staff, all that stuff.
But that includes something like a colorist, right? An art.
That's everything across the board. That's sort of standard page rate price for a 20-page book. $15,000. You're done. Gosh. Right. So if that's your budget for a monthly book, but your book is only selling 15,000 copies, and after you get the cut from the distributor to the retailer to everything else, I'm telling you, dude, it's really funny because Injustice was the #1 digital comic in the world, like for 5 years in a row.
Thanks.
It was a New York Times #1 best-selling trade paperback. But those pamphlet comics in the stores were only selling like 16 to 18,000 copies. So it was like, if it was just that, if they were relying on just that, that book would barely be paying for itself. And then you had all the books that sold less than that coming out. So all those higher tier books are subsidizing all the publication of the other stuff, and they keep making that stuff because, you know, like I said, it was a New York Times bestselling trade paperback, which meant when it was in trade and they broke even on the production of the pamphlet, then all the money from digital, all the money from the trade paperbacks, all the money from foreign licensing, that was all gravy. But not every book's going to do that. And not every book is even going to break even, because not every book's going to do very well as a trade. But you produce it and then you maintain the trade long enough that it's a long-term investment. People think that you're just going to make money off of these single issue comic books. That's generally not the case, even from Marvel and DC.
I feel a lot better about this current thing I'm working on now, because I was doing the math and I've never I got a really awesome offer to do a little something that I'll have to reveal later, but because I don't even know if they want to talk about it. But I'm very excited about it, and I was really excited. There was no haggling or anything over the page rate. He shot me an offer, and I was like, yes, please. I was like, I'll take that. That's awesome.
Never accept the first offer, Matthew.
I failed.
Mr. Dollar a Cat.
Comic artist pro negotiations failed.
Comic artist failed negotiations.
I screwed up. But yeah, no, it was, and I started doing the math and just my oh crap, I forgot what the number was. But it's not even close to 15,000, but which is why I feel a lot better about it now, because I was just wondering, I was like, man, this place is known for absolutely selling out of their books, but I don't think that they make a lot of them either, even though they're a huge name. And I'll reveal it as soon as I can, but because I don't want to mess it up. But like I said, but that was before the what I thought was a huge number is before colors and before everything else. You know what I'm saying? So dang, getting close to $15,000. That's a wild number.
Well, I mean, it's everything, right? Lettering, inking, penciling, coloring, writing, right?
Yeah.
So you have to add all that into that 15,000.
Dude, and so I mean, according to that number, I'm happy with what he offered me, completely happy. But you know, according to that number, which I don't know if that's like industry standard anymore, because it sounded like it was fairly recent, because you were talking about digital.
That dude is, I mean, okay, maybe if you live in Indiana with, you know,
yeah,
one child, you can make a fine living off of that. But bro, I live in San Diego. I got 5 kids.
You can move.
That's the biggest point of all. You know,
$3,500 mortgage. You know, it's like
yeah, depends on how you're living.
Don't
you know?
get it, bro.
You could move.
I'll move when God tells me to move, Jeff. And you, sir, are not God.
The $3,500 mortgage is God telling you to move.
Yeah, the voice of the Lord is going to come in the form of the San Andreas earthquake. Well, he's going to spell it out in the landscape.
No.
Where
I've
you
had
might
times in my life where I've had absolute conviction that God wanted me to move, and I've left San Diego twice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you've been to Texas.
But I feel like that level of life change requires a pure conviction. So
no, it's definitely something you do in thought and prayer. I agree with that.
Yeah. And dude, I'm so plugged in at my church, and I'm you know, a lot of several of those kids at you know, high school group are like I'm their favorite adult. You know, it's
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's like I said on Twitter. It's like God didn't put you here to make money; He put you here to make a difference.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That's where I feel like I'm making a difference. And I got to stop eating this jerky. I'm going to eat all of it tonight. That's
You're in consumption mode.
I know,
Oh.
right? Because it's just right here. So what I need to do is put it farther away from me.
Shoot, I ate right before I came on, and I have this. I got this en route.
Don't do it. Don't.
This.
Oh.
But I'm trying to get some work done so I can earn my reward. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
not going to go straight to your thighs.
no. I'm. You know what? Tell me if this is crazy.
It's
But there's
crazy.
Hey, hold on. I got.
Yeah.
Crypto Comics says you're my favorite adult too, Mike. Thank you, Crypto. I
Oh.
appreciate that so much.
That is.
Hello, the honey peanut butter. Isn't that a lot of sugar? Yes, it is. Alpha Proto, please explain that to our good friend Matt Weldon.
Well, hold on a sec, but and honestly, I
Flip
got
that over. Let's see the carbohydrates.
I got off of this stuff for a long time,
Flip it over.
but I got this really cool app
Flip it over.
Make it
that
sound like crack.
that
Let's
tells me
Bring it.
if
We can
items
see right there. Bring it up.
are
I went
in
through
the
rehab to get
Closer.
off the peanut butter.
So
Closer.
this app tells me that it's 51 out of 100 and that it's good for me. So let's
Can you turn the right there? Get in close there. Let's get a solo layout. Why is it so blurry? Total carbohydrates. What's that say? 17 grams?
okay, so let's see here.
Does
Total
that say
fat.
17 grams? I don't care about the fat. It's the carbohydrates.
Okay, let's see. Total
Yep,
carbohydrates is 11 grams, 4%.
11 grams. Okay. Now, how much are you eating? That's 2 tablespoons, Matthew.
That's
That's
man,
2 tablespoons.
really?
Are you only eating 2 tablespoons?
They're 2 jumbo tablespoons. Like as much it'll stick on that spoon as possible. When I pull it out of that jar, I'll eat it. but yeah,
And
that's
by tablespoons, are you not talking about like just spoons that fit on your table and they're
no,
like
no,
big and-
no, not serving spoons.
ice cream scoops?
7 grams protein. Listen, I don't know if this app is telling me the truth, but it says 51 out of 100, which is good for me. But I need to go scan a couple. You want to know what you cannot find is good sausage or hot dogs, and I was stupefied at how bad cheese and butter is for you.
No.
So I kid you not, I had just brushed my teeth. I took my socks off.
Did you throw
got
up from
ready
one
for
hand to the
bed,
other?
and you sent me a link.
Bro, I sent you the link like an hour ago.
It was not an hour ago.
It was like 42 minutes ago.
It says
Oh.
Which is not an
13
hour.
minutes ago. It was 13 minutes ago.
No, it was not, dude.
It was probably
I
40
sent
or
it
something
to
minutes
you
ago
when I started the stream.
because I didn't see it at first either.
At 102.
Oh my gosh, you're right. It says 12 minutes ago on mine too. It says 11. What
It
the
says
heck?
102. And that's
Hold on
like
a second.
whatever
I've been
time.
on
Weird.
longer than that, and you've been on longer than that. What?
Yeah.
Oh
You've been
wait,
I
streaming
just got
back
it.
longer than
Got it.
that.
oh you're not in the group though that I'm in that you probably sent the link to earlier.
No. J Doll is on his. J Doll is not in any of my groups.
Yeah.
He's just some rando on
That's your
Twitter.
name, J Dollar. J Dollar.
Hello, Weldon
Cool.
and Jeff. I'll be
J
right back.
Dollar. He's my crypto bro.
Oh,
That is
cool.
true.
Although he was completely wrong about the ETFs, that's fine.
Oh well, what do you mean?
He was so convinced that the ETFs were not going to be approved.
I thought there was a high probability that they were not going to get approved either, but I thought they were going to do something like what happened the day of or the day before with
Oh,
the whole glitch. I mean,
Well, dude,
I didn't think
this
they were gonna get approved
morning,
either.
this morning, Bitcoin shot up to 49,000,
Good.
and
Yeah,
then
but
came
like-
back down. But
The
you know what? That's what's going to happen. It's going to test and test until it breaks through.
No, the problem with that, like South Korea and all that, are still banning ETFs and everything in their country.
Right.
So once you get like, you need far bigger countries to adapt and not have like political jargon, tossed out into the ether. And that's why you're not getting that bump. Like, remember, I may have been wrong about the ETF. I will admit I was wrong about the ETF. But the contracts that are coming up for renewal in 2030 and 2032 are just far too appetizing to run the market just yet. So, like, institutional.
Expound on what you're talking
Well,
about.
just to say something real quick, I didn't think you were that wrong, because I thought that they were going to try and do something either. Honestly, I thought they tested the waters on trying to pull a trick on not approving them.
I just didn't think they didn't have the option. And that's basically what Gensler said. He's like, I don't want to do this, but we don't have an option.
It's a game. It's a game because other countries aren't abiding. So, like, there's this.
Well, the other countries don't have to abide our laws. I hate to break it to you.
remember, I told you the volume wasn't there, and that's what I meant. Like, like I said.
Hey, Yellow Flash 2 in the house. What's up, buddy?
Like I said, granted, I was not correct about ETFs, but the run on the market still is far premature. And the fact that South Korea came out this morning, by the time I woke up, which meant it was in mid-afternoon, early evening for them, like, they're not approving of these. There's a lot of shenanigans going on, and the market is not reacting, and the volume is not there.
There will always be shenanigans.
Yes.
But the fact that the ETFs are approved, the money will come in. There's $4.5 billion in trading on the ETFs today.
There was a lot.
It looks a lot like my EKG.
Yeah, this spike here, it's not showing on this. Oh, yeah, it is. It went over 49,000.
Remember, institutionally, there's not enough to reckon the market. So, like, and that's what I mean by, like, South Korea and all those other guys coming out this morning. Like,
Yellow Flash, if you want to talk markets, get in here.
I don't think it's not this year, Flash. I don't believe it's this year. They'll wait until. Remember, you saw my tweets, Mike. I was tagging you. The S&P is a straight up head and shoulders. Like, they are setting up Trump for the okie doke.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be a freaking wacky year, man.
The same thing that happened to Justinius when he was in charge of Constantinople. And
which one do you use for S&P?
Give me a second.
Real quick, while you're looking at that,
syndicated public company, that one?
Just the S&P 500 index.
That's not the one. Why? I hate it.
So SPX. Just type SPX.
Yes, I have noticed that Janet Yellen news has been rather quiet lately. Was she on Lolita Express too?
Oh, crap.
S&P 500 rare.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that took a dump.
Now, hold on. Change it to a month. Double click on the right or on the left for your side. Just double click.
Oh, nice.
There you go. And then
what? How is that How's that a head and shoulders?
Because you're too spread out. No. All right, just let me show my screen.
All right, show your screen.
Get the training wheels off, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't look at the S&P, okay? I look at
crypto.
crypto. I am 100% crypto. All day, every day, all the time. So I don't have time for this internet Comicsgate drama crap.
No, stop. So anyway, this is the S&P.
But you'll get involved in it anyways.
Only on Twitter.
and if you remember, if you look at the dollar index, so the dollar index is still. So you remember, like, so if you look at Bitcoin's charts now,
I don't understand why the dollar is the Dixie. Shouldn't it be the Yankee?
Oh, crap.
Oh, that's very funny. I never looked at it like that. So the dollar index still has a lot of strength. So that means it's going to carry the market through the turmoil.
Yeah, they need a strong dollar this election year.
Yeah, and so remember,
unless they start printing like a freaking money printer go burr.
But it's, to be honest, they're really not printing that much because
That's what I'm saying, unless they do.
Yeah, so the drama may be like, oh, look at inflation, but really, I don't think that has anything to do with like what the market's going to do. So
Yes, Mermaid Messiah, that is in fact Jay Dollar,
yes, Brown Flash.
the Brown Flash.
So
Tell me how you got your name, Brown Flash.
I don't even remember. So remember,
Did it have something to do with your
Fibonacci-
underwear?
Mike,
Something
from
to do with
Fibonacci
Taco Bell.
retracements. From Fibonacci
You and your
retracements, you have to hit
Fibonacci's.
0.618. So if this is a monthly chart, and if you predict going into 2030, 2032, you can see where eventually, like if let's go back to Bitcoin, because remember it already hit the 68 or the 61.618 Fibonacci retracement, right? Which we discussed the other day when
Yeah.
was
You need
denying
to zoom
the
in on that
ETF.
though.
I was denying
Fibonacci.
that the ETF was going to happen. Look at this beautiful chart.
El Fibonacci.
Anyone in their right mind would get out right now. That's why the market's
Hello,
not going to
Mermaid
react
Messiah.
as much, because there's too much speculative scenarios, like what's going on with the Houthis. So
Oh crap!
if you've
man.
seen those videos tonight,
Wait,
the missile strikes.
Anyone would get out of Bitcoin?
You're talking about getting out of everything, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would have gotten out of Bitcoin if I would have bought early
Really?
on. I would
Have
have
you-
hopped out now.
Have you cashed out all your crypto?
Absolutely not.
See, you're such a hypocrite.
But what I'm no you.
Hypocrite.
So what I'm saying is, so the average container price shot up to over $2,500 on a 40-foot container. How long can King Charles, Brussels, and even Italy and all those guys sustain over 60% markup on the average container price
Dang.
through domestic shipping in the Red Sea? And that's why you saw like the UK and the United States attack the Houthis in Yemen tonight, and that's why you won't see Bitcoin react, because the market has their attention elsewhere. So that's what I'm saying. So we got a lot of years. I would not buy now, but when Bitcoin retraces to my red lines and my dark blue lines at the bottom, that would be an opportune time. But that won't happen. The market won't react until 2030, 2032. I promise you.
You're absolutely wrong about the ETFs. I'm not going to accept your promises.
No, but my target.
Hold on. Yellow Flash is buy gold and silver. Yellow Flash, I love gold and
Oh,
silver. Here,
bro.
I got a little bit of silver right here.
I got my gold and silver.
But
Are we
it's
bringing out
I
silver?
mean-
I can bring out some silver.
silver's a good, like, a safe. That silver's sort of a safe place to put your money, but it's not an investment.
It's a wash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hedge.
Got the 5-ounce coins.
It's a
like
hedge.
this.
That's
Dang.
yeah. I like those. I used to have the
But the-
big dollar bill ones.
You're getting.
I used to have a lot of
Yeah.
silver. You know what I did with it? I went and I sold it all when ETH was $400 and I bought ETH.
I was mining Ether when it was around $400.
Yeah.
200 some change.
For those who aren't paying attention, ETH is now $2,600. So that's that was a positive investment.
I'll show you a
I
really
should've
old-
So
cast
there's a
my
difference
ETH
between
out when it was-
hedging against inflation, hedging against the dollar crashing, and actually making investments.
What was
right?
the ultimate high though? Wasn't it close to 5,000 at one point
For silver?
for Ethereum?
Oh, Ethereum? Yeah, 4,000.
Here, I'll get my Ether chart right here.
So
Because
when you say
I was
hedge,
thinking, crap, I should have.
Look, so Ether hasn't even hit my green line.
4,800, I think. Yeah.
Ether hasn't hit my green line, and it hasn't hit 0.618 Fibonacci retracement. So that just puts more strength in my argument against you that the market is like, it's not time yet. And look at the volume and look at the relative strength index. Remember, this is on a monthly chart. I like doing one
Dude,
month,
your
3 month. So the
your
ETF
RSI is at 60.
Huh?
What you're on the monthly? The RSI is only at 60.
Yeah, so I'm saying the market. That's why it puts more weight behind what I was saying to you a few days ago, that the market is.
I know, I get it, but I
randomly
want you to look at the
improved.
RSI during the bull runs, dude. It goes up to freaking 90. It's oversold. I
you
get
can
it, but it
Bitcoin
stays
right at
oversold
100.
when it pumps through the cycle.
There's not like I'm not all in yet, Mr. Mike. So
I am. I'm all crypto all the time.
no,
I
that's
keep
awful.
a minimum of
No,
my
no,
money
no,
in
no, no,
fiat.
no, no, no.
It
Bro,
can
I'm
be a
telling
pain
you,
in the
remember
ass.
I
Like
told you.
yesterday, like I didn't have any money in the bank, so I had to like swap money, and then like my wife's at the grocery store waiting for me to send money to the bank.
Oh crap!
Look at the dollar index.
Hey, bro, I've been like this for years. You guys have seen me. You know, this is just me. I believe more in crypto than I believe in this freaking
Right
crap
here.
dollar that we print at the Fed. So
That's crap. That's for sure.
So the dollar strength is between $92 and $102, and we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I'm telling you.
well, I'm not trading.
I'm telling you.
I'm in this for the long haul. So I'm not trading. I have my Bitcoin position. I have an ETH position. I have my Chainlink position. My Chainlink position is my number 2 position.
Mine is this one right here. Mr. Zen.
What is that? Horizon?
No, Zen. It's made by a bunch of Jewish dudes.
It like literally says Horizon.
Yeah, it's Horizon Zen Cash.
Zencash made by a bunch of Jewish dudes.
Yeah.
Open that up a little bit. Have you you think that's gonna come up?
Yeah, look at this chart. It's so beautiful. But it won't be till like 2030.
That's the long haul there, buddy. That's the long haul.
So if you look at the last proper chart, look what happened. So I've been with Zen since it was like $1 or $2 when it first came out, before you can even do their reward system, and it shot all the way up to 176.
What's it at now?
8 or 9.5.
Yeah. So what's that down?
95%, 100% almost.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those.
If you trade in your
Market.
Chainlink, you get a free Blintz.
Well, the thing with like Chainlink and
Nobody caught that joke. Never mind.
and ADA and Zen, you
I wanted
can
to help
park
you
your
out.
money and you get rewards. So
Staking. Yeah.
yeah, staking is very nice, very very nice.
Maybe if I would have said free matzo, free box
Except-
of matzos.
Chainlink has actually you can stake a lot of stuff on Aave and just earn rewards there through
This beautiful,
percentage.
beautiful guy right here.
Well, here's the problem
I have
with
the light.
crypto, though, is they over the last year. I mean, when was it that it was hit 70 something? Because a lot of people got hurt in crypto, and I think it's still too fresh for a lot of people to put a lot more money back into it.
You talking about
A lot of-
Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm talking about Bitcoin. And
Yeah, it hit
crypto,
69.
because a lot of people got hurt. A lot of people.
Yeah, you know why they get hurt, Matt? Because they
market
wait
cap-
until it's at all-time highs before they
Well, no,
start getting interested in it.
I get that, but it's freaking people like BitBoy saying it's never gonna go below 78,000.
Well, it's with anything that's new, you're gonna get the
Manipulation.
bubble effect,
Well,
which is
not-
when the .com market first exploded. It bubbled and then it popped. It was because you had a bunch of people rushing in, didn't know how to actually use stuff. Were basically pumping out a bunch of fake crap that would have never been profitable, and eventually that the bubble grows and then it pops. But then when people started reinvesting again, you had far more solid. You had a more solid market there.
Right, and I think
Well,
it'll get back there. I just
crypto is
think,
bit
you know,
as
still
cyclical though, so that's kind of a different argument.
I just still think it's a little too fresh for a lot of people to be rushing
So
back in there yet.
you remember the, what is it, like the penny and nickel, the penny and dime markets? Remember that back in
Penny
the day?
stocks?
You could trade
Penny
on the
stocks.
sheets. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same principle as that because the market is so low. So the volatility will be very, very violent, very, very violent.
Dang.
And so that's what this market will be. And it was like that when when the combustion engine started and car companies started to be put on the stock market. Same thing with that. Aside, like the standard commodity, wheat, grain, oil. At the time, like it was the volume could comfort the individual in the market that swings. And so
Now, if you really want to secure
open that
investment,
when you open that market on a global scale, the volatility will be even more beyond comprehension. You know
now
what
if
I'm
you
saying?
really
Like
want
no
to
one,
secure investment, invest in peanut butter.
Bro,
no,
not too long ago,
no.
I saw an opportunity to buy. I love shaving every day, and I have enough razors to last me for the rest of my life.
Who loves shaving?
Like I don't know why I just bought a whole bunch of and really the good ones too, like the name brand stuff because they're $4 at Walmart. At least they were. And
Yeah, razors are stupid expensive. It's ridiculous.
and they might even be more than that now. But anyway, stupid story. But
You're hairy, huh?
No, I don't shave my my body. I just anyways,
You gotta shave those arms, dude. You look like a Wookiee.
it's not that bad.
Dude, you're reaching Aaron Lopresti levels there.
It actually looks a lot better right now. No, it's so wacky. When I noticed it, it was so funny because I was hanging out in high school with some girls, and they wanted to write on my hand. They wanted to be cutesy and stuff like that. And then it was the first time I really noticed they were having a hard time writing on my hand through all the fur on my arm, and I was like, "This is embarrassing."
Chewy,
Okay,
fire up the
holy
Falcon.
crap. It's not that bad. It's really
Right.
not that bad. It's mostly transparent.
You look like you're turning into a werewolf.
Yeah, they call me Teen Wolf, but it goes away. Like it's just my forearms. My sisters used to rub and rub and rub and create those little knots on my arms when I was a kid, and I used to have to get them out, and it was painful. I had three older sinister sisters.
Well, I have a job I actually have to go to tomorrow, allegedly. So
All right, back
I'm
to the
gonna roll.
tri-tip.
All right, Potts, beat it.
Later, all.
Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
All right, the tri-tip is back.
So what made you start up the stream tonight?
Keeping it fresh.
Honestly, I just didn't feel like working anymore, and
Yeah.
dude, it's this stupid broken finger. It's like I was showing it earlier. It's like drawing like with these three fingers is like tedious and uncomfortable, and it really just drains my desire to work. So,
What did you do now?
oh, we were out like I was saying, I'm in the high school group, so we were out playing a thing called broom ball, which is where you go on an ice rink after they close the ice rink, and you get these sticks. They're like broomsticks. At the end, you have like a rubber wedge on it, and then they put balls on the ice. You go out there in your sneakers or whatever shoes you have, and you basically play mass hockey with no rules. Like we had 60 kids out there playing hockey and I was being a goalie in one end.
Mass hockey. I thought you said mask hockey. Or what did you say?
Mass, like masses
so
of
literally
children
mass
playing
60.
hockey.
Holy crap.
Not children, teenagers. So like most of them are taller than me, right? It's like, so I'm sitting there and I'm the goalie in one of them, and I'm like a freaking wall, dude. Nobody could get past me. And apparently my son swung his stick a little too high and smashed my finger. And he said he did it, so I have to assume it was actually him. I don't think he did it on purpose, but yeah, I let it go for like a month, and I was just doing it, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse until I'm like, I should probably put a splint on this. And then everyone's like, "Did you go to the doctor?" I'm like, "Am I a woman?"
remember one time I was fighting with my friend and he kicked my pinky and it was like all the way that way.
Oh,
And all my mom did was like just tape
tape
my
them
finger.
together. There you go. There you go.
Dude, I remember, I'll never forget, like all my finger injuries came from playing basketball. And I'll never forget the first time I busted a blood vessel in one of my hands. And
Oh,
it turned all blue and I had to go put it under warm water.
I hate that.
That happened. A friend of mine, Aldrin, we were again at high school. He was one of the leaders of the group, and he's like, young, freaking ripped dude, and he's like super sports guy, and he got tackled, and we were playing tag football or soccer or something like that. And he shows me his hand, and like he moves his finger, and his tendon like pops out of its groove. And he's like, "What do I do?" So I taped his fingers together, and he's like, "Get back in the game. Don't be a baby."
Are you a woman?
What are you, a woman?
Let's ask Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh.
Victor says, I can't wait for all these kids to come out with allegations against Mike one day. Well, I have smacked a couple of them. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you're saying you're not even sure because I guess there was so many people there. You're not even sure who hit you in the finger. You had to.
Yeah, but he said it was him.
I know that's
Isaac,
what I'm
are you
saying.
sure it was you that hit me with the stick?
Like one would think that you would know who just smacked you with a stick, but if there's so many people there, that makes sense that you might not know exactly who hit you.
He said you were goalie and I was swinging.
Oh crap! You was on the receiving end.
Alpha Proto points out the question of the age: what is a woman? God knows.
Mike, you just named Maddie's next thing. Art thou a woman?
Art thou female? Hast
No,
thou?
Speaking of that, like when it comes, I'm getting in the conversations that I have with this really left friend of my daughter's daughter. And it's just, I can't even, it's harder and harder to talk to this one because she's the ideal. She's the, how do I say it? Like she's the
Brainwashed, indoctrinated.
exact portrait of those brainwashed that you see only in memes and on the news. Like it's so wacky to
And in Comicsgate.
converse with her. And and I literally I'm trying to break down some of the next times I encounter her, and it has to do with women and stuff. And I'm just like, and she has a daughter too, which is crazy, but I'm just gonna tell her she said her mission is to get me to vote for Joe Biden this year. And I'm like, oh man, lady, you're wasting your time. But I just basically had to break it down to her. This is simple. You have a daughter. I can't not vote for men in my daughter's bathroom and in my daughter's sports or activities or whatever when it comes down. There's probably a lot more, but that's a start.
You can't be pro-trans and pro-woman at the same time.
Can you imagine this being a conversation in the 90s?
No.
Oh, dang.
It's a very interesting, like remember they had drug violence and all that, so they knew they couldn't do the drug violence and the massive wars and things like that, so they come for the socio-economic issues. Like no one would ever.
This was a no-go. Although, you remember Tula?
That's so familiar. What is that?
How old are you guys?
I was born in 80.
Jay?
I was born in the 80s.
Okay, you might have been too young.
No, well, here's the wacky thing is like I keep thinking about whenever and when it comes up with the environment and all the other stuff. I remember when I was younger, they were like, "There's a hole in the ozone. We're effed."
Yeah, those were the things.
I remember the hole in the ozone.
Oh, bro, I remember global cooling. That's how old I am.
Yeah, I remember that in college. Well, in my
I remember the coming ice age.
2003 to 2004, they were preaching in college when I was there that we were overdue for an ice age. I remember that. I can't believe it.
No,
That was
because
20 years ago.
in the early 80s, late 70s, they were worried because the globe had been cooling so much that we were going into the next global ice age. Anytime the temperature shifts, they're like, "Oh my gosh, the ice age is! Oh my gosh, the Earth is burning! Oh my gosh, send us more money from the government, please."
Hey,
Yeah,
I
and if
heard.
that doesn't work, they'll do boys and women's bathrooms. So like
Yeah. Dude, I made that point. So a friend of mine, he's a friend in high school and college, and he's generally fairly fiscally conservative, but he's bought into this trans garbage, right? Or not the trans garbage. He didn't get into the trans garbage, but he was like, brought into the whole Rainbow Brigade stuff and the agenda, and he got all. He's still an atheist. He's mad that I became a Christian because we're like really good friends, because I was an agnostic and we agreed on everything. But I became a Christian. He's all, oh man. But yeah. But he was like getting in on me. And it's like about being homophobic and all that crap. And anybody who knows me knows me. I'm not nothing like that. Right. And I'm like, I'm talking about because in college, he wouldn't have been saying any of this stuff. And I'm like, dude, the freaking line has moved, right? The culture keeps pushing and pushing this agenda. Did you think when we were going to college or when we were going to high school that we would, hey, if I went back to you as a college student, I told you, hey, and you know what, in 20 years, they're going to be debating in the Supreme Court whether or not grown men can go into restrooms with your little girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way you would have even considered that even an option. And now it's here. So you have to you got to draw the line somewhere, and you got to hold that stand. And granted, when you're an atheist or you're an agnostic and you have no objective morality, but you just base your morality on whatever, then that line can move. And that's why I say if you don't believe in objective morality, you don't have a real morality.
That's my good question. That's a really good question, Mike. So as a agnostic or atheist, whatever it was, I always wonder, where does your morality come from then if you don't believe in
you want a dead honest answer about what my morality was when I was
that's agnostic? Probably why you came. Well, tell me. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, tell me.
And I learned this from my dad, who was an agnostic, teaching me to be an agnostic with zero more. And I was a smart kid, so I understood the repercussions of agnosticism, and therefore literally my moral boundary was
wide open.
Don't get caught.
Yeah.
I spoke about that.
As long as you don't get caught and there's no repercussions, what's wrong with it?
Well, I spoke about that the other day. Like, some people are trained not to get caught stealing, and some people are trained not to steal.
Right.
So, if you want to apply that to the so-called atheist movement, you can get a lot of rabble rousers out of that. That's how the anarchist movement moves in any destabilized society, from quote unquote, the so-called communist movement and the so-called democracy movement here in the United States. So these behaviors are taught purposely through colleges and cities that have big economic centers for multiple ethnicities. And, that's where they breed and they find the best, and they use those as their...
Yeah, they indoctrinate. That's all they do.
That's how Obama was created.
Because you know what? They don't procreate, they indoctrinate. And that's why it's a constant push for higher education, a constant push to get the government to fund people going to be indoctrinated. It's not going to school to learn stuff, because they're going to school to get these most worthless degrees that aren't going to do jack squat for them in their life. but they'll come out blue-haired weirdos who think men can be women and that babies have no value of life, right?
So I
the
heard these
whole thing.
numbers. I heard these numbers. Tell me if you've heard these. The back, I guess the other generation, the not too old, whatever. The last generation, their rate of gay population was like 1 to 3% or something like that. But the current generation is coming on 20%.
Well, can you
That's
trust those
social
numbers?
contagion.
Yeah,
What-
can you trust those numbers?
No,
One.
I don't. I don't know. I
And
just
then,
that's just what I'm hearing. I don't know what to
you know,
trust
they
them or
do
not.
think,
I'm just saying.
you know, I
That's what I
mean,
heard.
think this is how like Rome fell, Constantinople fell, degeneracy. So they, you know, this is, you know, weak men breed strong men
Mhm.
scenarios, and these are usually the eras where the strong men persevere. So I mean, like ultimately, all of the individuals arguing about if a person can be a man can be in a female's restroom, those are irrelevant conversations. Like they're fake, they're
Yeah, they're
you know,
distractions.
degeneracy manifested, you know what I'm saying? And you know, so like back in the Mithrin era in Constantinople when it was changing to uh like a more Judaistic Catholic based religion, you still had rituals where you would cut off your genitals and like throw them on the door of the person during, you know, the procession, and then they would have to take care of you. And you know, so these like these degenerate practices always somehow manifest themselves like into the public when they're all
I'll explain it to you.
Hmm?
It's I mean, granted, we come from a peculiar culture that is, I think this is probably the first nation that was born on a Protestant Judeo-Christian ethic, right? But we maintained that for hundreds of years. And then in the 50s, they took the Bibles out of schools. In the 60s, they took prayer out of schools. In the 70s,
Dang, that's-
they eliminated, or they did their best to eliminate sexual mores, right? Like and then because of that, in the 80s, they got rid of the disdain for divorce and for single motherhood. And then in the 90s, what did you have? You had a generation of kids, more and more kids without fathers, right? Which leads to all the other societal problems that not having a father in the house leads to, most of which is, you know, criminal in nature, drug related, you know, dropping out of school. Generally, I'm not saying obviously everybody that doesn't have a father isn't a failure in life, but the statistical reality is that is the single biggest attribution to having a difficult life is not having a father in the house, right? And that's just the 90s. And then you had that generation grow up to the point where it's like we're now not only sexually free, now we don't care about homosexuality, right? And then now we've accepted gay marriage, and now we've pushed that boundary. Now you don't know what a woman is.
Well,
What,
this
you know what the
the degeneracy has risen.
that's the cycle of how this has all happened, wherein, you know, the hundreds and hundreds of years America has been around, since before it was a country. None of this crap happened. It was when we took the Bible out of society, when we stopped teaching the children that Judeo-Christian ethic as a matter of writ, as a matter of passage into adulthood. It all started from there.
I mean, the devil is out there.
Well, I personally think like all societies, no matter what millennia you're in, will always have, because you remember like degenerates are the most likely to do like the most egregious crimes. because they
Yeah.
have no morals. Like, so if you've been trained to be a degenerate, to steal, to not get caught stealing, and do very bad things to people, you know what I mean? Like, I forget who said it. Like, but once graffiti starts showing up everywhere in normal societal scenarios, that's when you can tell essentially that the pendulum has swung, and this is the era that you're in. And so you can take that perspective. You can, if you think graffiti is a measure, then you can look at the same principle as in like boys and girls bathrooms and things like that. Because you remember, like, during the Roman eras when they were crumbling, graffiti was at its peak because there was no, like, society had fallen. And and the same thing happened in Constantinople. It happened in the Indian cultures. It happened in the Iranian, Aryan cultures. So, like,
I'd like to point out
these
this has not happened in Japan.
happen where?
This has not happened in Japan.
Japan, well, Japan, it kind of did. Because you remember, like, when the samurai society fell, and they started introducing gunpowder,
Meiji.
and all of that, their society, like, they had gone through a lot of degeneracy because they were filleting people in the streets, just like in China. Like
That's not degenerate. That's based.
well, it is. So that was assuming that everyone who was filleted in the streets had committed the crime. So, like, prostitution or sexual degeneracy may not have been in the Japanese culture, but there is other variations. Like, if a prime example is the kamikaze era. You know what I mean? So, like, that
was a very, very short-lived era.
But in Japan, sacrificing yourself,
super patriotic.
But is that degenerate? That's you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
no, that's it's a totally
well,
different
it is.
mindset because it's like
Degenerate
nobody here
way of
believes that
degeneracy
Trump or Biden is actually a god.
well,
Right.
degeneracy just doesn't.
They believed
fall around
Hirohito
sexual
was a
proclivities.
god. That's the way they were
Interesting.
raised. That's the way that theological system was set up
Japan?
in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, the emperor system still is, honestly,
I don't know, Mike.
maybe more.
But I know, but like nobody
now.
thinks that King Charles is a god, right? They
No,
believe
they do.
Hirohito was a
They
god.
absolutely do. They
Yes,
think he's
they do.
part of the
You're
Thoth
wrong.
bloodline.
Well, then they're stupid.
No, even Japanese bloodline. And remember, in China, the royals run the Chinese government still. The Manchus and the Hans, they've come to an agreement with the European traders. Like, all of these. I disagree. Like, they're
On which part?
I think that they believe in a higher power. I think it's a satanic
Absolutely.
power.
absolutely
But
And
Right, but they think
same
that if their emperor is telling them that they need to sacrifice themselves for the motherland,
I'm talking
that
about America.
no, I'm
I'm
talking
not
about
even-
Japan. I'm
I'm
talking
sorry,
about
go ahead.
why the people would take. I mean, this is a country that values honor above life.
Yes, and the new emperor who just took over, his sister renounced all of her titles and became the high priestess of Japan's esoteric traditions. And she also married a Jesuit Port Mafia college gangster. So,
Like you do.
you know, they weren't going to have the same issue they had last time with the kamikaze.
I'm not sure I want to click on this, but I'm going to click on it anyways. Japan had brothels then, as they do now. Chester Busby, who lives in Japan, for those who don't know, said they allow anything but insertion.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, Japan.
But that's the best part.
Is it though, or is it waiting?
It
till people
is,
die?
Matthew.
Or is it waiting for Christmas to open up that present? I don't know.
Victor says Mike's sons look nothing Japanese. What a disgrace! Give them bowl cuts or something.
So
Yeah,
look at
I
my
mean,
guard.
Isaac. Look, I'm a quarter Norwegian as well, so there's a quarter Viking in me, and apparently
Oh my
Isaac
God.
over there got all of it.
Show me your DNA. Show me your DNA.
No, my grandmother was
Show me your ancestry. I'll
Norwegian.
show you my ancestry.
Peterson, Peder, Peterson.
On your dad's side?
On my dad's side. Yeah, she died the day my dad was born. That's a sad story. You guys want to hear a sad story?
I'm related to Pocahontas.
You don't want to hear a sad story, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
I don't.
I don't know. I don't know. I like a tragic tale every now and then, a motivational tragic tale.
Okay, my real grandmother died the day my dad was born. So, and his brother was only about a year older than him, so he doesn't remember his real mother either. And so my grandfather got remarried shortly thereafter, and had my Aunt Jeannie and Judy with her. But when my dad was probably around 8 or 10 years old, they went and saw Cinderella as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And they came home, and my dad and Uncle George were laughing and making fun of that wicked stepmother. And my grandma, who I consider my grandma, the one I know, started crying and ran from the table because they didn't know she was their stepmother. Right? My grandfather, this is the kind of, not to talk ill of the dead, but this was the kind of guy my grandfather was. My grandfather gets up from the table, goes to the garage, collects a bunch of stuff in the garage, and throws it into a fire pit, and then brings my dad and my Uncle George out to the fire pit, shows them a photograph, and says, "This is your real mother. I never want to hear another word about this again." Throws that into the pit and lights it all on fire. And it was all of the memorabilia of my real grandmother.
What?
And it wasn't until my dad was in his late 40s, early 50s that he tracked down my long lost family, who was all of his real mother's family in, was it freaking Minnesota or something? It's like Minnesota or Michigan. It's one of those what's the one that borders Canada? I think it's Minnesota.
Michigan and Maine or something like that.
Map of
Michigan borders Canada.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's Michigan. I think it's it's Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
So he gets in his little Cessna and he flies out there and meets all of these long lost relatives, and they're like, "Oh, I'm drawing a blank on my grandmother's name right now, but you're her son." And it's like there's like tears and blah blah blah. And still to this day, I've never met any of them.
Dang.
I did meet one on Facebook, right? And then they're like very excited. But so I have this whole half of a family or quarter of a family out in Minnesota, and they're all Norwegian.
Wow.
Here, share my screen.
Yeah.
This is me.
Are you Norwegian too?
Yeah, I have a Norwegian family.
Bro.
Very old.
We're family.
Well, Wales, is that Welsh? Or am I?
Yeah,
Welsh.
I have some Welsh family.
I got some Welsh.
Here, look at my tree. How much?
Oh, you're only 6% Norway. So that just means one of your ancestors went over to England and raped somebody.
No, so my Norwegian portion of my family wasn't until like the 1800s, and a lot of my family were boat traders and all that. But I have a very look how many people I've put on here. Over 1,000. What is this? Go away.
Oh, it's awesome.
Over 1,000 people.
Yeah, dude. I got Ancestry once. I was on that thing for 2 weeks straight. I was just wasting so much time on that website.
It's not
We
wasting
can
I tracked my family back through my dad's grandmother, the Sunni line, all the way back to is it 1211 in England, and he was the second vicar of the Church of St. Mary's in England, and his name is still on the wall at that church today.
What's a
That's
vicar?
my
I'm not-
ancestor.
I'm not
Vicar
familiar
is like one of the leaders in the church or something.
Yeah,
like specifically the Catholic Church, right? Or is that something? Or
I don't know, something like that.
I don't know. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, we came over here. My dad's side of the family, that branch of that side of the family came over here in 1611, before
mostly
America was
from
America.
the Kent area. My family came into England during the William the Conqueror era.
I am so shocked, Jay Dalla, that you would send your DNA in.
No, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, now
Right?
You're in,
Of
now
all
you're in their
people.
ultimate registry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you so when you're born, you're in a registry. It's just not a
True.
public one. So,
Yeah,
yeah. it's-
I remember it was a pretty cool story where people were freaking out, like way back when they gave people social security numbers. They're like, "Oh my gosh, they're giving us numbers. We're all doomed. We're all gonna be tracked and."
What's fascinating is most of the reason why a lot of the history survives for like my family specifically is because of baptism records, like
Oh.
especially around the Kent area specifically, because like I'm part of the Kingsmill clan, which is like a southeastern portion of old bloodlines.
Scotland.
They weren't like royalty or anything, but they worked for royalty.
So check this joint out. This is where my great grandfather was the vicar of.
Yeah, a lot of my
Pretty
family.
dope, right?
That's pretty well built. Yeah, it's just.
Well, what's cool
I
about
had some royalty like Dutches and crap. And
what's cool about things like Ancestry.com and stuff like that is a lot of these headstones still exist.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
they're like through the registry system. Aside from baptism records, there are headstones that are in churches of my family from the 17 and the 1800s.
Dang.
yeah. And what's really cool about Ancestry, it's like
And there's headstone sites.
it's sort of like decentralized detective work.
It
right?
is, bro. it
Because
is.
anybody that's in that system can go out to their local cemetery and take a picture of who they
Absolutely.
know, right? And they log it in, and then you get these little. Even though I'm not even on Ancestry anymore, anytime I get a new clue about my ancestry, I get an email update. It's like, hey, there's a new.
There's
thing you
always
can
new
check out.
people.
Yeah, new people
donating
plugging
their
in
DNA.
information.
So my family was like more in horses, farmland. We had a lot of property in like Norway and the river routes that go deep into France and things like that. You could see it's very interesting. I would have, if there's
That gets
ever
wild,
like
man.
it opens up like imagination. It really
Yeah.
does. Like
Victor
it's
says,
very-
"Have you visited that? Oh wow, that means Eden's a princess. Claim your stuff, bro. You know what? All of my kids are descended from King Solomon.
Oh my
So-
God, shut up. No, they're not.
They are. Yes, they are. They're Solomon.
So like we have, so one of my families actually.
Excuse
opened a
me. Excuse
priory.
me. My children are cousins to Christ.
You're Oriental. I don't want to hear that.
My wife is Jewish, dude.
That doesn't mean anything.
My wife is a Solomon.
What type of Jew is she?
Now, I will grant you.
What clan? What clan?
Hold on. David, the freaking tribe of Judah.
Can you trace that for real?
Yeah. Her name's Solomon. All of her ancestors are named Solomon.
Obedient.
Because now here's the thing. You think it's kind of a big deal until you realize that Solomon had 700 wives or
Yeah,
700
yeah.
concubines and 400 wives. So it's not
That's
really the most elite club ever, but no,
No,
it's still
I
kind of
mean,
cool.
not exclusive.
It's
so
not that exclusive.
my blood. So, Weldon, what do you have? Brown eyes?
I
Or
want to
blue
say
eyes?
they're hazel. They're
You have hazel, so you got you.
either
So you have
bluish
some of your
greenish
mom's haplo
sometimes.
in you.
Yeah, which
What
is
color
weird
is your
because
hair?
because I was born in Oklahoma and now where I was born was taken back by the Native Americans. So it's like every one of my ancestors on both sides, grandparents, are all lived and died in Oklahoma, but one was more from Germany and all that other stuff. But my dad had jet black hair, but my mom side really got in there and just I'm a bunch of stuff. I'm literally a
Well,
bunch
what
of
color is your hair?
It's like pretty
Is it thin and blonde,
brownish or
blonde.
dirty blonde. Yeah.
Dirty
like
blonde.
this?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close.
Cool.
That's pretty so I'm quite a bit of stuff. That's why I said like my mom's side, she really got in there and just threw a bunch of stuff in there in the Welsh and Germany and
Well, the woman's bloodline is more important than anything because the Y
yeah.
haplo is it you only the. I mean, like I have 2 daughters, which is fascinating. I would love a boy. Don't get me wrong, but to have because all of my children have brown eyes, brown hair, blonde hair, like and their genetic makeup is very strong. Even though
Isn't
my
that
youngest
interesting?
daughter
Because I have brown eyes, which is supposed to be dominant, right? But only one of my kids
is,
has brown eyes.
Interesting.
Out of my
but
5
that's
kids, 2
because
of them
you're
have
mixed.
blue and 2 of them have green.
Yeah, you said you're mixed, and so the brown eye,
Yeah,
and
my
the
dad
brown
had.
eye and the brown hair, genetic makeup is stronger than
Dominant,
blue
yeah.
eyes and blonde hair and all this. Like, if you have blue eyes, you're more likely to have diseases, have cancers and things like that. Because just like the redhead genetic
mutant
variation
redhead.
is a defect.
Mhm.
So in the next couple thousand years, less
You're
than
a
2,000
defect.
years or so, there will be no more redheads.
Really?
Like the redheads will breed themselves out
What?
unless there's a genetic marker like albinoism
Oh, I'm
that
sure there will be.
that cultures will. But I mean, will you have that again? Because the Celts, because you remember the Celt culture was quite large. It bordered with the Bell Beaker cultures. It bordered with the cultures that came from the steppe and all that, which is where the blue-eyed variation comes from.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know.
When it comes down to it, like it's just so wacky. And not to like completely derail what you're talking about, but honestly, I don't. It's fun to think about and fun to talk about, and I get really into genealogies a lot of the time, but yeah, I think Jesus is coming before a lot of that stuff. I honestly thought we had more time, because I got kids and I want them to
Hey,
have
I want to get to this point real quick.
long
Alpha Proto says,
peaceful-
Mr. Miller, Genghis Khan had a lot of conquests, so most people of the Orient can trace back to him. You know where Genghis Khan never
Khan was not Oriental.
conquested? You know where he never conquered?
Japan.
The island nation of Japan.
Well, because
Thank
it
you
was
very
all
much.
his
He
trade
tried.
routes.
He tried 2 or 3 times, and his
Mhm.
navy sank. His
You want to know
navy-
why?
Mm-mm.
Because he
Maybe not
forced-
just him, but the Mongol Empire tried to conquer Japan, and they sank in typhoons.
You want to know why? Because the Chinese people who he conquered right before then, who he forced to build their boats, they built them like crap because he enslaved them and built them. Yeah, because the Chinese people who he conquered right before then.
I think it was because they were too stupid to not go in typhoon season.
Well, that too, but
I purposely think that the Genghis Khan bloodline were transnational organizations that relied on pastoralism at Malik. Like they were not seamen. They didn't do boats. They did horse and carriage. So like, there was no
that's true. Yeah.
strategical
Bro,
Like
I'm
they-
Japanese. I appreciate my ancestry. All right.
And it's no, it's it's so
The
funny
people
because
on Japan were Ainu then, right? No, not
No,
dude.
no,
The
they
people of
were just
Korea took over Japan way long time ago.
well. The Ainu are
Ainu.
ancient. If you look at Alpha Proto, look at the etymology of the Ainu people,
I'm Ainu.
and
And
they
or
will
you know, if you didn't
they're
know.
they're hit. So why? So the Great Wall of China. Why do the gates open inward?
The ramparts of Magog.
No. So Gog and Magog have nothing to do with the
No,
Great Wall.
literally, the Great Wall of China was called the ramparts of Magog.
Yeah. So well,
And by the way, yeah, dude, there's only 14,000 Ainu in existence, and I'm one of them. We are special collector's edition.
you're talking about today.
you are not Ainu. You do
I
not
am.
have. You do
I
not
am
have
Ainu, dude.
Amerindian. Do you have Amerindian in your blood?
I don't even know what that means, but my freaking mom's mom or my mom, it's either my mom's mom or my mom's grandmother was 100% Ainu.
Really?
Ainu, for those who
You're
don't know, are the
half-American.
indigenous people of Japan before the Koreans
Do you
came in
have
and took over the
The
ancestry?
island.
Book of Mormon
or-
talks about the Japanese people and how they got there.
Well, the Ainu, so the Ainu are very old, very, very old. So Amerindian is essentially indigenous, like Siberian cultures and North American cultures that branched through Alaska and the tips of Russia. Like these
Yeah,
cultures-
I think honestly, I think that the Ainu people are related to the Inuit because
Well,
Ainu means
yes, they are. They are.
people.
So
and Inuit means
Amerindian.
human, so it's kind of
Yeah.
the same word.
mhm.
Sounds like an insult, you Inuit.
No, Inuit is
I
not.
knew it.
No. But it is a modern European term. I do agree.
Yeah, they don't look terrible.
You don't
they
have
look.
Ainu.
You know what they look
like?
like? Ainus look like Hapas. They look like
A little
half
bit.
Japanese, half Europeans.
No, what they look like steppe caucus folks who mated with Siberian cultures that mated with Oriental cultures,
That's
Which is
literally
exactly
what
what
I
they are.
just said.
which is exactly what they are.
This-
You want to know what sucks?
what they look like is me. They look like
No,
they're
not
half
at all.
Asian
You do not.
or half
Sure.
Oriental and half white.
See a little bit. Well, nobody looks like you now with
Except
your
they
chin
tattoo
calisthenics.
big.
You're gonna
I
throw
need
everything
to
off
see
with your
your
chin
haplogroup
exercises,
makeup.
Mike.
Except they're
No,
really hairy.
So that's not what Russian natives look like.
must
They
be my people.
so the
They
Russian
do think
culture.
they all look like Hapas.
What about the
The
Russian
Russian
culture?
culture has like 5 to 10 distinct haplogroup variations, and that
It's an entire continent. Of course it does.
yeah they
That's
have.
why I always. I mean, dude, I know people think
I
I'm
love
kidding
Russia.
about it, but that's why I am adamant about calling myself an Oriental, because Oriental and Asian are not the same thing.
Really?
Russians are
Agreed.
Asians, Indians are Asians,
Mhm.
freaking Pakistanis are Asians.
I didn't know that.
Asia covers a continent larger than the United States of America. The Orient is a specific type of person from East Asia, which
Mhm.
includes Chinese, Mongols, Japanese, Koreans, Singaporeans, that general area. And there's a very specific look to an Oriental person that does not include, if you are from India, I am sorry, but don't call me an Indian.
Well, the
Don't call me an
Oriental
right?
craniology differentiation is the cheekbones, the nose, and the forehead.
And those are the people who conquered the Pacific Islands, New Zealand, and South and North America.
Well, I don't believe those cultures still exist today, but I do.
Bull crap, dude.
see
Those.
what you're saying.
Where do you think they came from? Those are all freaking Orientals.
Well, you remember you had Aboriginal cultures, which are different from Amerindian descendancy. So, like in the island nations that are around the South China Sea, going much further than the south of Japan.
These are my ancestors, people.
There were haplogenetic differentiations where you actually had black cultures that lived in these regions, which are essentially, that's like in China. One of the biggest things was for the Manchus and the Hans to survive, and they wipe out.
Bro, Elliot's awake. Elliot, I'm sending you a link.
and
No
wipe out
way.
all the other cultures in the area. Because you remember places like China,
New
and
York
Japan
and-
and all that, they had many cultures.
Yeah, dude, that's
that are
kinda crazy.
far, like their craniology is completely different than the cultures that live.
Yeah, like the Native Americans
Today.
like I was always shocked whenever I heard that Native with their craniology shaping, and the fact that it said that they could not grow facial hair like at all.
Yeah, they don't. They grow up
And-
like me. I don't grow like right here and right here, and I don't have my adult incisors. Like these are my baby teeth.
So
This
like
one
my
is-
dad, my brother, they're
Excuse me while I whip this out.
which sucks because
Victor for $1.99 says, "How close is Jay Dalla to sounding like Prince?" Not close at all, Victor. I don't know what's wrong with your hearing.
like
Prince,
Prince. What do you
the
mean?
the artist formerly known as.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I don't know what that means.
But he paid $2 to say it, so there it is.
Yeah.
Jerkmonger says, "I'm a New Yorkan mutt, and I can't trace my lineage past the Canary Islands. I'm jealous of you guys."
You're a liar. You know you have.
You probably
main
could if you wanted to.
culture in you.
I wish I had talked to this.
No, it just makes total sense. And you know what? There's cultural markers that prove that South America was populated by the same people that populated the Pacific Islands, which are the same people who came from Asia,
Yeah.
right? So it's like all of the. I mean, I'm more related to the Native American, to the Mexican, than I am to.
Well,
no,
you even if you're truly Oriental and you have Amerindian descendancy in you, like you're saying, you have Ainu and all that stuff in you.
yeah, I wish I
I
had.
mean,
My mom's
That
got a
means
great
you had
picture of her.
a culture that extended all the way down to California.
But that's the thing.
Chinese-
I believe more in. I mean, I believe that the Ainu went and became the Inuit, right? I'm
Well,
not
they did. They're
entirely
happily-
sure they came down,
They're happy. Yeah,
but
absolutely. They're happily-
I'm positive that they went from on their boats and they made it all the way across the Pacific to South America.
Mhm.
Well, if you
I'm
believe
positive.
that, then you can believe in the Book of Mormon.
All right, go ahead. Give us your pitch, Weldon.
I'm just kidding.
I know you've been trying. Give us your
No,
pitch
it's
about
really weird.
Japan.
I'll have to go over it with you sometime. But I'm gonna go back to this thing that sucks the most is like the fact that my mom got in there, and while my dad and my brother are like purely hairless, mostly American Indian types, like and my brother grows the patchy beard and everything, and their hairless bodies. I got my mom's side, and that's why I got all the woolly arms, and like I can grow a mean. I can kind of grow a mean ginger beard though too.
How
It's
Japanese
kind
my
of-
arms are.
It can be pretty red.
That's like nothing.
So I guess you are like related. It's so wacky. But my kids, like they're all my wife, she's Mexican, she's from Mexico, but they have a really cool history too about this Chinaman, who came down, and they were getting some letters translated not too long ago. We were paying to get some letters translated from how pissed off his Chinese family was that hundreds of years ago he moved to Mexico, this really random place, and they were mad because he was going to Mexico. He was sending money back, but they didn't want him to breed with anybody other than like they wanted him to come back and make sure his bloodline was pure. It was just such a wild letters to listen to, and he's like he never went back. It's so weird to read the letters about how they were like, one of these days you need to come back. And all my wife's family is now, my kids have Chinese, I don't even know what Mexican you would
What's your
call.
wife?
She's like, I guess purely Mexican with some Chinese in there. I don't know.
There's
honestly.
no purely Mexican.
That's my thing. That's why I hesitated to say Mexican. I don't even know what that means. Like,
Yeah. Rude, the funniest thing is like how people think like a Latino culture is like brown people. It's like, bro, you go
Dude, I
down
go
to
down there,
South America, it's like Argentina is like 95% white. Brazil is like 86% white. It's like all of these Uruguay, Paraguay, well, maybe not Paraguay, but all of these Western South American countries are essentially whiter than America.
Dude, every time I go to
And
Mexico,
people are
to
like,
visit the
oh,
family,
they're brown. It's like, bro,
nobody
they just
looks at me
speak Spanish
crazy
and
because
Portuguese.
there's so many people that look like me that are purely Spanish speaking. Born
Yeah,
Mexican
no,
people.
because they come from Spain, they come from Portugal, they come from Italy, they come from Germany. 700,000 of them came over right after World War II for some reason. I'm not sure why, but so you've got this huge European population down there, more probably than America. They probably have had more European immigrants than America has. I haven't done the math on it, but the percentage of their white population as opposed to their native population, it's like their native population was just deleted.
Dang.
And yet we think of them as the brown people.
Well,
Share
no,
my screen.
it's funny
The
because I
support-
honestly don't even. I'm a bad member of the church too because I need to get better at my genealogy because they're all about the genealogy over in.
So Mike was just saying a lot of the so the main dominant groups of Mexican descendancy is the Q haplogroup and also the QL54 and the QM3. But the haplogroups that Mike was just talking about, the growth. Oh shit, it switched. Hold on.
Mike, tell me if this gets too loud and I'll turn it off.
Is that your air conditioner?
Bro, I'm freaking burning up. And
Let's go, Jake. Squid Grow. We had a great meeting today about something that I wish I could talk about, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's something that's
a
really
church meeting or a business meeting?
Squid
or-
Grow. Squid Grow.
meeting.
We have a team meeting every Thursday.
All right, this is Squid Grow.
Yeah, and it was things that we're talking about maybe doing that I think are going to be really freaking awesome. So
All right, share screen.
sharing.
All right, right here.
Sure.
Look at this.
I will not talk, and you can't make me, Jake.
Crap, I missed it.
So Mike,
All right.
so this supports your argument that a lot came from the European regions, specifically the Brussels, London region, and the Constantinople region, Asia Minor.
The
So
Eastern
and that all came down into the Ecuadorian regions, which I would imagine, this was happening during the boat escapades when, Spain and London and Brussels and all them were doing the Dutch East India Company and all that. So this is how probably if you Weldon, if you have an admixture, you would be similar because you have white in you, right? You have white.
Oh yeah, I'm just white.
Yeah. So
Look at
this
him.
is-
Look at his hands. Look at those hands. That's
yeah,
white.
So this is your history. So more than likely you came out of the North Sea Empire area,
Dude, that's
which
wild.
is today the Anglo-American, or well, it is
Anglo-Saxon.
Anglo-American, but the Anglo-Saxon Alliance.
Yeah, I'm an Anglo superstar. I honestly don't even know what to believe when my mom says a little bit of Welsh, maybe Irish, maybe a little bit of French, and mostly German. I think. I don't know. I got-
Yeah,
I
I'd
got
have to
really
do.
good.
I'd have to do an actual DNA test because,
I
like
wouldn't-
my like I was saying, my dad's grandmother, the Sunni side of the family, she's got those records go all the way back as far as the 1200s, right? The
Dang.
church kept phenomenal records in Europe, right?
They did.
Mhm.
However, my dad's dad's side of the family,
Like to burn
his
records.
his records only go back to a bank in 1875 or 1845 or something. I think it was 1875, and the bank burned down with the records in it, and so it's like the
Dang.
trail stopped there.
Sucks.
It's like that side of the family is a mystery, but his mom's side of the family is like, or his grandmother's side of the family is like historic. It goes all the way back. So
Man, I wish I would have spent more time with this one guy. He was obsessed with genealogy, and that's what I heard about before I visited him too. I was in California at the time, and he lived in California, near San Francisco, Oakland area, and he said he traced his genealogy all the way back to Adam and Eve. He had all the records and everything. Blew my way. I never heard of anybody who even claimed such a thing, but and everybody who I'd met, even before I'd even met him, they're like, that guy
is that a clove?
is crazy. You talking to me?
Is that a clove or just a cigarello?
Just cigarette.
I love cloves. I can't smoke them though, because
Just
bad
open the
for you.
window. Just open the window.
Because you
Yeah, I'm gonna
because
smoke cloves in here with my kids.
So Jake Adams, he said, "I'm Scottish. Am I a Celt?" Well, it really depends. Like, is your descendancy, like, what is the dominant eye color? And your dominant eye color, especially if you come from your parents, your maternal line, you follow her, and that's where you'll get, like, you can find if you're from like Denmark, Sweden areas, because remember those cultures came
Man, you got
into
me
the-
really wanting to explore this. And honestly, I always thought it'd be fun to get in one of those what are they called, little deals where you get multiple people to get in on a deal, and you can get your ancestry
Yeah.
sent in, little group deals. But I never, and I just don't know if I want to anymore. Not maybe because I mean, I really think about it in times like this where we're talking about it. I don't think I'm worried about being on the radar of people who might take that information.
Unless you have
for
royal
something.
blood, you have nothing to worry about.
I don't know if I do. I doubt it. But yeah, I might have to look into those. And it's so funny because there's at least half a dozen of them, isn't there? Big ones.
Because of Ancestry, I was able to find a whole lot of my father's lineage, because other members of his line, my father's line, on the male end and the female end, did Ancestry as well. So, like, I don't know, to every human, like, the only reason why we exist today is because our lineage survived pure and utter chaos to get here.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
like, to not know, where, like, my family made abbeys. So a lot of my family were Benedictines and Catholics that came up from the Normandy regions and Western France into Britain. You know what I mean? Like, I would have never known that.
Ancestry is a good site, Jake.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is because there's so many.
Hold on. Ancestry is a good site because it's very popular, and because it's very popular, a lot of people do, like I was saying before, sort of decentralized detective work. So they can go out and they go and do their own investigating. Like my uncle David, he did a crap ton of investigating on his own before Ancestry even came out. So when Ancestry came out, he started plugging all that information into Ancestry.com.
Oh.
And you have a bunch of people who are like bibliophiles like that. And they'll just, when they get on Ancestry, they're like adding all of this stuff. So it's like it's like the Wikipedia of genealogy.
I have family members going back to the 1400s and the 1500s that I've been able to find.
Dang,
Like,
that's
that is
satisfying.
Utterly fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And
1211. That's as far back as we got.
I think it said 1611. No, oh wait, never mind.
No,
He says when they came over. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a lot of debates for pre-1500 era, but like you're really hitting speculative regions unless you really know your bloodline and what you're following.
Well, like I said, it's hard because I can't track crap in my mom's family because she's from Japan. But the freaking Europeans, the Catholic Church kept such immaculate
Well,
records.
that's why we nuked Japan. Or we didn't nuke Japan.
To
That's
get rid
why
of their
the
Ancestry.com.
Oh
Well,
crap!
that's why the Europeans nuked Japan. It's because, the two areas that we supposedly
Jake.
dropped the nukes on even though anytime we ever have a nuclear fallout, you can never go back to it.
Ooh, I
The
have a
area,
story.
the areas that they bombed in Japan were the two oldest, most esoteric regions for chronological and property history in Japan.
Dang.
And they did the same thing. That's why they took over Laos. That's why they did the North Korea, South Korea split. Like all of those. That's why they burned Alexandria and all those other
The library?
quote unquote libraries. They were really strongholds. Because you remember back in the day, personal and pertinent documents to family history were extremely important. Because this is before trust funds existed. So you could trace back lineages and in line to property ownership to going back in lines that are hundreds of years, and they destroyed it. And that's how China was able to become, because remember, China is not China. Like there is no China. Like they want it to kind of be like the United States, but that's never going to happen. It'll always be like very big, heavy, like mafia regions in China that you'll never be able to break. Because these families go back so far.
I wonder about those mounds and pyramids that they say are under all that foliage of there.
Yeah,
and all that farmland. It's all. I don't know if that's exactly true. I just wonder about it. They like to talk about it.
So like with Ukraine, after World War I and World War II, when Europe was able to use the Nazis to carve up nations and change the borders that we know today, places like Ukraine, they had areas where the burial mounds were in the tens of thousands, like 10,000 burial mounds. And since Europeans came in there, they started flatlining all those ancient burial mounds and turning them into fields for cultivation.
Gosh.
So like you have ancient bloodlines that are still in Russia today that have connections to those burial mounds that they destroyed in the Ukraine. Because you remember, like Kyiv, the Dnieper River is one of the most ancient and most strategic trade routes that's ever existed. And
I have a story.
It's almost as more popular than, like, it's more, I wouldn't say it's more powerful than the Silk Road at the time, but there are times in history where connections to Crimea and the Black Sea, going into Constantinople, going across the Red Sea, going into Egypt and all those areas where the money exchanged through those regions were like uncountable at the time.
I have a story.
That's why the Golden Horde, and you were talking about Genghis Khan earlier. That's why the Golden Horde became what it became. And that's why the Khans and all those dudes were able to rise.
Well, the Golden Horde was primarily Eastern Europe, like
it was
Lithuania.
Yes, they controlled the trade routes.
Yeah,
going into past the Altai Mountains, past all the sand, going into the regions of the Caucasus Mountains, the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea, going into Iran, northern Iraq, and Syria, and all that stuff. So bro, there's the fucking money. The money.
Language. Okay, I got a story. So I remembered this really quick because when I went to go see G-1, which is like, nobody realizes that it's not Godzilla -1, it's G-1. G-, right? It's like a countdown. Anyways, so he was riding around. If you haven't seen the movie, part of the movie is after the firebombing of Tokyo, which sadly enough is very much the life my mom lived through in that kind of era in Japan. Her entire village was firebombed in Tokyo, and she escaped that with her life, and only her and her family. That's really got nothing to do with this. But the story takes place there in the post firebombed Tokyo, right? And one of the scenes, he rides in on this bike that looks just like this one, and I'm like, I think that's Steve's bike. So my former physical therapist, his name was Steve Rainbolt, and
That's a cool name.
Steve had this bike. This is the unique. There's one of these on Earth, and
What?
Steve Rainbolt has it. And the story behind this is amazing. So, prior to World War II, Harley Davidson had a factory in Japan, right? And
Hmm.
right before World War II, when Japan was about to turn heel on America, the owner of the factory, he was friends with somebody in the government, and his friend from the government kind of came over to him, and he's like, "You might want to leave." So he got out of town. He got out of Japan, left his factory in Nagasaki, and the government of Japan nationalized the Harley Davidson factory and redesigned and started producing these, which were considered the Japanese Harley Davidson. These were the Japanese motorcycles produced for the Japanese army throughout World War II, right?
Really?
And they are unique to that era. Now, the thing you know about Japan is that they have very little and very poor quality steel. And people complain about it because that's how they
On
make
purpose.
samurai swords, and
On
that's why they have
purpose.
to fold the steel so
On
much. Blah
purpose.
blah blah. But what?
On purpose.
Anyways, they have very little steel, so they literally recycle everything. So after these were destroyed, or after okay, there's a part of this story that's kind of reminds me of Godzilla. This particular factory was in a little town called Nagasaki. So after Nagasaki was nuked and that factory was wiped off the face of the planet, there were no
It was never
replacement.
nuked.
It was nuked. Trust
It
me,
wasn't.
I'm Japanese. There was no more parts. There was no more factory. There was no more nothing to make these motorcycles anymore. And so because of that, all of the ones that were existing, eventually they break down and eventually they are recycled. So none of them existed in Japan anymore because of how they recycle 100% of everything.
You
My
truly
friends-
believe
my-
Japan
my-
was nuked?
Yes, I do.
Why is it a matter of
That's
belief?
another story. That's another story.
Is there any doubt? Oh, never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Because he doesn't believe in nukes.
No,
my
I do believe in nukes.
my friend, Steve's friend, was out hunting in the hills of Santa Cruz, and he thought he saw an antler, and he takes a shot at it, and he hears "Bing!"
Oh no!
Right? And so he walks over to it, and it's this, and it's like sitting there covered in brush, grown over. Someone had driven it, it broke. They just put it on the side of the road and walked away because obviously, whatever, nothing he could do with it. And this dude didn't know jack squat about motorcycles, but he knew that Steve did restore motorcycles. So he sold it to Steve. Steve researched what it was, found out it was this unique thing, and started painstakingly restoring it with like the paint numbers and everything from the original information that he could find in Japan, and restored it back to what it would look like in Japan. And I'm watching Godzilla G-1,
Oh,
and this dude
cool.
rolls down, and he's driving it very gingerly. He's never like zooming around or anything. He's driving this motorcycle. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Steve's
Do you
bike.
think they used it for the movie?
I'm pretty sure they did. I'd have to get a still of that scene to compare it to.
I mean, I'm always shocked at how people
This?
make props for movies, though. I mean, they could easily.
Well, yeah, I mean, they
recreate one.
could have gotten a photo of this and just like taken another classic Harley and painted it to
Yeah.
look like this or something. But it would have probably just been just as easy to contact Steve and say, "Hey, can we rent your motorcycle?" Because they rent people's like Model Ts and stuff
Yeah.
all the time. My neighbor across the street used to have or has a Model T, and he used to get people like requesting to rent it for movies and whatnot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So, yeah, I've seen this bike because Steve used to keep it in his shed next to his, or even in front of his house. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. TJ's in the house.
What's up, fellas? What's up? What's up?
How'd you like that story, TJ? Pretty cool, huh?
I couldn't get past, and J Dollar, I'm not attacking you.
You couldn't
What's up,
get
bro?
past him saying Japan wasn't nuked.
Yeah.
Bro, trust me,
So-
Japan was nuked. Japan would not have quit World War II if they hadn't been nuked.
So
Oh,
they
I'm
got nuked, right?
Japanese.
Oh, Mike. Hold
Yeah.
on a second, Mike.
So hold on,
Um,
share my screen. Share my
J
screen.
Dollar. There's
Share my screen.
there's
So this is
shadows.
ground zero.
There's shadows of the people.
That's
That-
fake. So Pope Francis is at the epicenter, ground zero of Nagasaki. How?
So it's your thinking that
Because
because
this,
of nuclear
this
fallout, it
crap
couldn't
about
be there?
nuclear fallout is what's crap.
No, where's the nuclear radiation?
It's crap. The nuclear.
It was
nuclear
absorbed by Godzilla.
And by the way, it was exploded like a mile into the sky above Nagasaki.
It was not.
Just
Oh,
hold on a
was
second.
it?
Do you mean to tell
Yeah,
me
it
at
wasn't.
the
It
time
didn't hit the ground.
that-
It was. It
at
blew
the
up.
time that this happened, the entire world, without the internet didn't exist now.
I don't know what to
At the
believe.
time, hold on a second. At the time that this happened, with no internet, the whole world was in cahoots saying Japan got nuked.
So the Japanese military was wholly controlled by the Germans. Our president was a
No, they weren't.
Swissy. Yes, they were.
No, they
The
weren't.
Japanese military was wholly controlled by the Germans.
You know how I know that's not true?
How?
Because there's a Jewish contingent of people in Japan to this very day
In the
whose
tunnels?
survival was contingent on the basis that the Japanese military did not listen to the German hierarchy when they told them, because the Jews were coming across from Europe through Singapore, whatever, and making their way to Japan, and Hitler told Hirohito to kill the Jews when they got there, and the Japanese let them. They gave
I'm
them
gonna tell you
safe
something.
passage.
I'm gonna tell
And
you
there's
something.
a Japanese Jewish community from that exile from Europe to this day in Japan.
Out of all this beef that's going on with CJ, right? I'm not on Twitter, so I can't interact, but I can look at it, but I can't interact. I'm looking at other people's channels and stuff, and I did check out J channel, and he had the most interesting channel because it's like this highly intelligent. Yo, look at the S&P, look at this and that. This and that. I'm like, damn, they be on some stuff. You seem highly intelligent. And then you say something like Japan never got nuked, bro. I don't understand you.
Well, I am a living devil's advocate. Like, I have my opinions. I'm going to create a show.
Why would you say? Why would you say?
Here's footage
Why would-
of it happening. They
Yeah,
didn't,
that's what I'm trying-
they didn't have
yeah, I'm
great
try-
AI back then.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, why would you say that? It's like it's the equivalent of.
It's illogical.
I'm a very
How is it
very smart guy. I'm a very smart guy, but I'm gonna take the most historical fact and say that never happened.
That's my belief. Like, so
How is it illogical?
That's interesting, man.
It's
Explain how it's illogical.
illogical.
No, I want to hear his
so
argument. How's it
you had-
illogical?
So when the tsunami.
The whole the whole world
Hold on,
agrees with it.
TJ, let us.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
You know,
so
you
when
know what? The whole
tsunami,
world can be wrong. That's always my
when the
position.
tsunami hit Japan. right?
Let's hear.
So in those regions where the tsunami hit Japan and that nuclear power plant got flooded,
Fukushima, yeah.
in that region, it will be 30 to 70 to even 80 years before someone can live in that region again. And Chernobyl, which actually does have radioactive hits that's been proved through many individuals and many documentaries throughout years, And Chernobyl to this day has a giant dome over it that they've put over the last couple of years, but you're still not able to live in that region. There is it is impossible. So if you were to take the nuclear explosion seriously, regardless of if you light it in the atmosphere or whatever the sphere is that's right above, where we live, below the atmosphere, but above the crust. If you ignite nukes, there will still be nuclear radiation in the region. And that's been proven by technology in other areas that have had actual nuclear problems.
They tested nukes in Arizona, right?
Yeah, and no one lives there.
Thank you,
can't.
Mike.
So you can't. You cannot live. You cannot.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hold on.
And
the nuclear.
Within less than a decade. Hold on, Mike. Within less than a decade of these two supposed nukes going off in Japan, which are essentially port mafia areas and areas that controlled land deeds that go back centuries. How did individuals move back into these regions? How?
Are you sure they moved back in these regions in less than a decade?
In less than a decade, they moved back into Nagasaki and the other area after said supposed.
If I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, I'm not educated on this, but the yield on those nuclear weapons are not like the yield of modern nuclear weapons.
That is very true.
They were detonated 500 meters above the city, right?
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, hold on, let me finish my statement.
Yes, sir.
The nuclear fission that causes the reaction is localized. The chain reaction does not necessitate nuclear radiation, right? The each atom breaking apart the atom next to it, that's a physical reaction, not necessity a rate. Not necessarily.
I think you're pretending to be a physicist.
Not necessarily a radioactive.
I think you're going too far trying to pretend to be a physicist.
No, I'm just saying that the nuclear part of this, like in Chernobyl, it's an entire. I mean, the radiation is the cause. In the case of a nuclear bomb, the nuclear part of it is the ignition point. The rest of the explosion is a chain reaction that honestly they didn't even know it was going to end, because each atom essentially blew up the atom next to it, right? But that's not nuclear. That's a chain reaction of atomic particles.
Well, what I wanted to ask. Okay.
So if it's 1,500 feet or 1,500, about 1,500 feet in the air, it's in the atmosphere.
And low yielded, nowhere near like the nuclear bombs we have now, right? So it's like very considered now.
I believe we dropped a very powerful bomb in the Japanese regions. I definitely believe that, but they weren't what was said in the media.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
We didn't have a bomb that powerful, and honestly, the firebombing killed more.
Why was the entire world at this time, Jay?
I'm telling you right now,
the entire
Japanese
world,
person with Japanese people in my family and Japanese people that I know, Japan would not have freaking surrendered if we had not been nuked.
I'm gonna ask you something.
Yeah, you would have spent over your port.
I'm gonna ask you something spicy. If you don't believe that Nagasaki and Hiroshima happened, you believe the Holocaust happened?
No, I didn't say that Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
He's just saying it was some other sort of explosion.
Yeah, it was a major explosion.
Okay.
Do you
believe the Holocaust happened?
The Holocaust is a very interesting thing that the Swiss used to ethnically cleanse regions.
So no, did it happen or didn't happen?
Yeah, the Swiss definitely killed lots of people and took their property. Absolutely.
So the Holocaust did happen. It wasn't the Germans and the Jews. It
Well,
was
you
the
remember,
Swiss. Hold on, let me show you this. You
so
are
more
amazing,
Polish
bro.
people, more
Hold on a second.
Ukrainian, ethnic Ukrainian, Russians,
But before
Tartar.
you go on, I'm simple minded. I'm not smart as you. What
That
you're
was
saying
Tesla,
is
Alpha Proto. That was freaking Tesla. You shot that death
you're,
ray,
you're
blew up
saying
Russia.
it wasn't the Nazis and the
Oh,
Jews. It was the Swiss and who?
So you remember before Hitler took power, he got training in
Well,
Switzerland.
then why have you noped out of this argument?
No, I'm in. I'm just listening. This is a lot
Yeah,
of stuff. I'm
So
in.
Mussolini got training in Switzerland. You remember, because that's when the whole Basel system was being created. And that's how they were able to redraw borders, because they used World War I and World War II and the economic growth at the time in the coal industry and the steel industry and really the paper industry. Because you remember, pamphleteering was really
No, I don't remember none of that. I don't know what the fuck you talking to. I ain't remember.
Yeah, pamphlet. Yeah.
He keeps saying you remember. Like I don't know what you're talking about. But
No,
okay,
because
I'm listening.
I apologize, but like this is, so for me it's standard history. Like
Right. I got you.
geopolitical warfare and redesigning borders on maps is a very old tool, very very old tool.
Hmm.
Because remember, it's just control of the trade routes. That's what, like, everything that we're dealing with today. Like the whole reason why the UK and the United States were attacking the Houthis today is because
So let me
container
make that
prices
clear.
are beyond
The
imagination.
Nazis didn't massacre the Jews.
Well, it was more than Jews. It was Poles. It was Ukrainians. It was
It was
Russians.
gypsies. It was homosexuals. It was
Gypsies.
blacks.
Right.
It wasn't
Right.
just.
Yeah, they didn't
But-
just kill
but-
6
but-
million Jews. They
I'm
killed
not saying
11 million people.
right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it was only the Jews, but it was the history get that wrong. Did the Holocaust happen, Jay?
Yeah, Mein Kampf was real.
Well, remember,
That was
so
his
a
plan.
Holocaust. What is the Holocaust?
How so?
Well,
What is the
specifically, they talk about the 6 million Jews, but really the Holocaust is the 11 million total people.
No.
that were
What
murdered.
is a Holocaust?
Okay.
Like, look up the diction. Look at.
Is the Earth?
A huge,
Flat.
traumatic, devastating.
I'm tackling all the big issues with them. Look, we went from Nagasaki to the Holocaust. Here's the big one: is the Earth flat?
No, I like having.
No, I'm dead ass serious.
We're gonna-
I'm dead ass serious. Is the Earth round? Do you think the Earth is round?
I don't want to entertain flat.
No. I'm being serious. Do you believe that the Earth is round?
I'll play.
Uh-oh.
Flat Earth theory, because I have a really good friend who
The
was
flat
a
Earth
really.
theory was started before.
Bro, let me
Christianity.
freaking.
No, Mike, let him do it.
Yeah.
No, let him do it, Mike. Let him do it. I'm following it.
He's
Go ahead.
interrupting me though.
The flat Earth theory is a scenario that has happened before Arabs and Christianity and all that started.
Do you believe that the Earth is round,
Yeah,
Jay?
the Earth
I'm
is
asking
round.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
but what I'm saying is I don't enter, like, that's a.
Let me ask you a question, TJ.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe NASA?
I don't.
Checkmate.
I believe in space and the moon.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy a 6-inch telescope and see that
telescope and
Saturn.
see, see Saturn is right there. Yeah. So yeah. On that note, yeah, I do.
But no, that's not NASA. I'm asking, do you believe NASA?
I have a hard
Well,
time.
I think NASA is a bunch of freaking liars who are just trying to make money off the government.
Well, NASA.
I don't think it's that.
That's
Well, I'm
definitely
being
that.
I'm being a little hyperbolic, but dude,
Yeah.
there's so much fraud coming out of NASA, including.
Well, I remember.
By design.
I remember them. They changed their stories up about Pluto. Pluto was a planet. Then it's not
It's
a
not just
planet.
that,
Then
dude.
it's planet. Then it's
There was
Planet
a
X.
video, and you used to
Remember
be
Planet?
able to
Y'all
find this
remember
on
Planet X?
YouTube, but now it's really hard to find it on YouTube. But there
That's
was a
why
video,
world-
if you remember back in the I think it was the 1990s, NASA claimed that they had a video, and this was the first time we ever had a video of the Earth revolving from space, right? They had a video. Somehow or another, they got a
That's
satellite
impossible.
sit out there at the exact right spot and take pictures of the Earth revolving. The problem with that was that if you watched the Earth revolve back then, you might have looked at it and said, "Wow, look at the Earth revolving. That's totally real."
Okay,
But
I'm gonna
then
be honest. I'm gonna be honest. with y'all.
After decades of becoming more and more familiar with computer graphics, you look at it and you're like, "Wow, that Earth is revolving and none of the clouds are moving."
where I put my tinfoil hat on. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and
It's
put on
not
the tinfoil
tinfoil
hat.
hat. Bro,
No,
NASA is owned by the government. The government lies to us.
I'm
That's
gonna
the
put
bottom
it.
line.
This is where I put my tinfoil hat. If you want to talk woo woo shit, stuff. Sorry.
Thank you.
One, they can't define gravity. They truly
Yeah.
can't define it.
All
They
theory.
can't.
Gravity.
Okay.
The origin of gravity is theoretical.
They can't.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yes, it is.
No,
It
Yes, it
absolutely is. It absolutely is.
No,
J
no,
Dollar,
no,
bro.
no.
Yes,
Every
it is.
no.
Let me
The cause
finish.
of gravity is
Every
100% theoretical. Not saying that gravity
It's-
doesn't exist, but no
Every
one
planet-
understands the absolute reason.
They
for it.
don't
Every planet
understand the
will-
absolute.
They
Let me
don't.
finish.
Every planet. with,
Let me
active-
finish, J Dollar, please.
Every planet
One-
with an active molten core.
Bull crap. Bull crap.
How do you know a
J
planet
Dollar-
got an active
I
molten
think he
core?
means
Haven't even
every
visited the
active planet
Haven't
has
even
an
visited
active
another
molten
planet yet.
I'm agreeing with TJ here. How do you know? We haven't drilled more than
You can
8,000.
no. We
Stop.
have technology.
We
that
haven't
can
drilled
tell-
more than 8,000 feet into our own planet's core
Yes.
to know
No.
what's beyond that.
Let alone another planet.
We might do
Ridiculous.
sonar and radar and all of this stuff
No.
and make
no.
assumptions.
You can tell
You
planets
cannot
don't
tell.
have
You
active
cannot
cores through
until
their
you
thickness
see.
of their atmosphere.
We do not
can
have
tell
the
planets.
absolute proof of anything beyond 8,000
Well-
feet below.
Well, I'm going to continue if y'all allow me to continue. One, like I said, they
TJ,
don't
you have
understand. They don't understand gravity. This is my tinfoil hat. They don't understand. We haven't fully understand gravity.
Yes, we do.
Two, we do not know what dark matter is.
Yes, we
We,
do.
we have no.
No, we don't.
I give up.
No, you're
Right.
right. I'm agreeing with you. J Doll is wrong. We do not know what dark matter is.
Well,
It's
tell me,
all theoretical,
Jay Dollar.
dude. People
I
hang
love
their-
talking about dark matter because it supposedly makes up like 85%
People hang there
that they
Ah.
estimate.
on dark matter as if it's
So-
supposed to explain stuff that can't be explained.
I don't see it like that. Like,
Okay,
maybe I'm being
Okay,
contrarian,
the floor is
but I don't
yours,
see it.
Brown Flash.
The
Do you understand? We can't. It's just they can't understand what it is, bro.
TJ,
It's like
give him
curtains. I'm
TJ,
sorry.
give him a minute to give his argument.
every collapsing star when it's ran its time, the gravity of its own mass will supersede active suns, right? That's how you become.
You say
that's how
right
you
as if
become-
that's not
He
a,
is.
theor-
He
a
is.
theory.
He is Mitchell
No, it's
Packle.
not, bro.
It is bro. You
not.
can't no because you're extrapolating. You're making these assumptions because of the things that we're
You're
seeing
making
right now. No. This is how
We're
how all of this science works. They look at these things
No.
and they think, well, this obviously looks like this happened from that or that happened from that. But what is their actual observational experience? It's the span of at maximum 100 years of observation. You cannot extrapolate billions of years of information through
So our-
100 years of observation.
Oh,
It's not
hold on a second.
possible.
Hold on a second, Mike. Yo, explain dark matter to me. What's dark matter?
It's a collection of heavy elements over time that collect. That's why our universe is a sponge that runs like a highway.
What the fuck are you talking? Lord forgive me.
There are areas. So you remember, like when a pulsar or a sun is active, they have a gravitational pull, right?
No, I don't remember none of this because you're making it up.
And suns, pulsars, other dying stars, when they have no more light, they still have gravitational pull because they still have mass.
Can we stick to when you look at space, the black background of space, the black, because you're trying to sound intelligent, but you're really sounding crazy.
No, what he sounds like is someone who's been indoctrinated into thinking that all of this stuff is known when it's all theoretical. And here's an example, Jay Dalla. Okay, and about I believe it was 1997. There was an article in Scientific American about the discovery of 2 Jovian class planets that were circling their star every 24 hours. When the astronomer who discovered it was asked what that meant for modern planetary evolution theory, he said point blank, he said, it's all wrong. And he said, well, what are we going to do? And he said, we're going to have to come up with another theory.
Another theory.
That was 1997. Guess what theory there's... Hold on. Guess what theory they're still teaching today that you probably taught, which you're probably going to regurgitate right now? The same theory that was absolutely disproven in 1997, but they haven't come up with a better theory yet, so they're still regurgitating the same bullcrap that they know isn't true.
Here's the crazy part, Mike, before you say something, Jay. Here's the crazy part about just the word theory in itself. The word theory in itself means that this is just my idea on it. It doesn't mean it's not a fact. It's a thing. It's my thoughts on it.
I believe the solar system has a very minute way of acting, and every solar system goes through the same system that every other solar system goes through when it pertains.
How would you even know this?
Jesus Christ, you black son of a bitch. Can I talk?
Yes.
So in the future, our Milky Way will die and have no more light because all of the matter and everything that's around it will be sucked in by the weight of the center of our gravity, right? And then when everything is sucked in, it explodes. And that's how new universes are always in.
Oh, that is such garbage. That's
very simple. It's very
simple.
simple.
That's the eternal universe theory. That is such crap. There's zero evidence.
Have you actually gave credence? You thought about this to that length?
I'll explain to you why they necessitated that theory, because they realized that the evidence that we have at hand right now proves that the universe is expanding, which up until about 50 years ago, that was not the idea. Everyone believed that the universe was
to be honest with you, Mike, right? I don't even know what that means. Expanding into what?
Expanding from a center, from what they call the singularity.
Wait, real quick, I want to know, Jay Dalla, is that what you think? Because I've heard that the one where it shoots out and then the galaxy comes back in on each other each time, and it does it over and over again. Is that what you believe?
Yeah, but
basically
not from the galaxy perspective, from
the universal
solar system perspective. So there's many solar systems. And gravity, because you remember, so if you go in space and you squirt water out of a tube in space, because of what gravity does between the moon and the earth, it will form into a round bubble that oscillates, that moves.
But they don't even understand gravity yet, though, Jay.
Jesus Christ. So anyway, if you look at it from a macro perspective, the same principles can be applied to a micro perspective. So our sun will, in the future, no longer produce light, but it will still have gravitational weight. And that weight will bring in all the planets that are around it in that solar system. This is like common solar system knowledge. And then
No,
once
it's-
it brings all that in, it will explode again, and then you'll have
Pause
new
for a
solar-
second.
I wonder
Bro,
if
I
I'm sorry.
literally just
So-
explained to you that entire theory on
No.
the creation of solar systems was completely debunked in 1997.
It's
But they're still
not.
teaching it, and you're still believing it because
No,
they
it's
haven't come up
not.
with a better theory.
No,
You
it's
believe in
not.
the
So that's why you
theory
have
that is-
areas all throughout.
You
All
say
right.
it's not, but it
Really
is. I
fast.
freaking remember.
That's why you have areas throughout our insanely vast universe that
You
have
remember?
regions where there is quote unquote dark matter. Like if you were to, like, say for example, travel into these areas where there is quote unquote dark matter or nothing there, just a dark presence, the gravitational area will be almost as intense as a star that's in a galaxy. That's why you always have pull.
Look,
and
why
torsion.
why did you say dark matter, quote unquote? Like, what is the backdrop? You know, the black backdrop of space, right? This is dark matter. I'm trying to explain the best way I can.
So, like, you don't.
What
So
what
do you
is
think
it?
a pulsar is?
A pulsar?
Yeah, what is a pulsar?
Isn't that like
that
a
spinning
pulsate?
sun?
Yeah, a
It's a
pulsating
sun
star.
it's a sun that's basically dead on the end of its life,
cycle,
right?
Okay, what does
The
that have to do with
gravitational
dark matter?
Speculation.
And the gravitational
The
pull of a pulsar,
theory.
a gravitational pull of a pulsar is stronger than our sun.
What does that have to
How
do
do you
with
know?
dark matter?
No, wait. How do you know?
Oh, Mike, he's changing the whole conversation. What
Because
does that have
the
to do with
density
dark
of a
matter?
Pulsar, like, because remember, a pulsar is basically
How do
like a
they measure the
diamond
density
thing.
of something that's hundreds of millions of light years away?
We have a periodic
Not-
table of elements. We have our current understanding of the way elements work.
That doesn't even matter.
It is
Fuck the star.
irrational.
All
it
of
is
the
Fuck the
irrational.
pulsar.
that we have is a little blip of
Lord
light
forgive me.
from 100
It's an
million light years
irrational
away.
That's all we
length.
got.
Standard
Lord
practice.
forgive
of
me.
There's-
What's
they
the
tried to
backdrop?
extrapolate so
When
much
you
from so
when
little.
you look into a telescope, then there's a black backdrop. This is called dark matter. The black curtain behind
No.
everything. The blackness of space. It's called dark matter. What is it?
So
No,
the
the
only
black-
reason why we can see
It's not the
stars.
absolute blackness of space.
I think
The
a
only
veil
reason-
has been put over our eyes by God, the Creator.
No, the
And
only
we are
reason
not
why
allowed
we
to
can
see
see
that.
stars is because of our atmosphere. If you go into space and you have no refraction, you can't see the stars. So
That's
like,
how
what
we
is
know
the
we never
argument?
went to the moon.
That's insane. Insane. It's
I
insane
want to believe we went to the moon.
Wait, what's
but
insane?
that we haven't been to the moon.
Of course, we haven't been to the moon.
Yes, we have.
in this
Well, then where were the
decade,
stars?
I don't think so.
Yes,
Where
we
were the
have.
stars? In all those
Where-
videos,
where
all
were
those
the stars?
photographs,
Where-
where were the stars?
There's no atmosphere to refract stars.
yeah, that's explainable.
Refract. There would be no atmosphere
go
to
into
interfere
space-
with your view
If
of
you
the
go-
stars.
If you go into space and you have no atmosphere, there is
Why
nothing.
was the flag? Why was the flag waving?
What? Why do you have to refract stars if you have a direct line of sight?
If you are in outer space and you have no atmosphere and you look into space,
I don't think we went to the moon.
Why would? What are you talking? Why would it be complete blackness?
Because
You have
there's
direct
nothing to
line of
refract
sight.
the light.
That's
You don't
I
have to
believe-
refract light when it's direct line of sight.
No, absolutely not.
You're a crazy person.
Why was in the video? Why was the flag waving?
I mean,
You
if
saw
they,
the video
if
like I
they
saw the
were,
video.
if you're talking about the video where they were literally installing it, I mean, it would be moving while they were installing it. And they starched it up so it would stay there, so it'd be flexing a little bit. I don't know. You have to show me the video
Okay.
you're talking about where.
What
it was
about
I believe the moon-
let's get into radiation. Let's get into radiation since
I
y'all want to
believe
get
the
all
moon and
technical.
Mars
What
is,
about radiation?
Yeah, how'd they get through the Kuiper Belt?
I believe the moon and Mars is a private business.
That's pretty awesome.
I love you, Jay.
I'm with you. Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. You got me on that one. I'm just going to
You-
fall
you
back
would-
on that one.
Bro, the amount of minerals.
I apologize
that are on
for
the
cussing
moon
too,
and
Mike.
Mars,
Yeah, man, you could mine the moon for a while.
do you know how much money is on there? So if you make everyone think that the
Yeah,
moon
about as much as
landing
in
is fake,
Antarctica, bro.
Oh, I want to go to Antarctica.
Oh my gosh, let's
I
get
wanna
into
s-
that.
I want to see what's up
All
there.
freaking Colonel
That's
Bird,
something else.
all the minerals he found down there in
And
Antarctica.
why did the Pope and somebody else meet there? Like, what is really going on in
Oh,
Antarctica?
yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Colonize the moon. Let's colonize Antarctica, bro.
I'm not going nowhere. I'm staying here. Forget that.
I would go to
That's-
Mars.
All jokes aside, like I even seen like on a Twitter post, like there was a Pope and like these high officials, they met in Antarctica. Like, why you mean that? What's popping in Antarctica, man? I thought it
Satan
was
stuff, bro.
desolate.
Rituals.
Yeah, rituals and Satan stuff. That's what I said.
I don't think it's Satan stuff. I think it's ritualistic, though. I think
All
like the Satan
speculation.
thing and the fake moon stuff, like it's all a part of the same game.
Yeah, I could be. Yeah. It's crazy to talk about.
Because like, so on average, America sends what 1,000 to 3,000 spaceships into space every year, right? So are all of those fake? And if we're sending over 1,000 spaceships into space every year, what
What are you
are
talking
we?
about? I don't know. Are you
telling me
confusing
it's only
Are you confusing satellites with spaceships?
That's what
I
I'm
don't-
saying. Are you telling me it's only satellites we're sending up there? Can you think about?
Well, yeah. I would assume like phone companies. Hold on a second.
Sure.
Phone companies, and then
So
I can see that.
since
but
the 80s.
spaceships?
So for 40 years, we send a
When
couple
was the
hundred
last time?
spaceships.
When was the last time we went into space?
They're just
Besides
satellites.
Elon Musk, outside of Elon Musk with the joint with the little car. With
Well, I mean, the space
guy.
station's up there right now. I mean,
Bro, I'm telling
allegedly.
you. There's no way we're not on the moon. There's no way we're not on Mars. It's too much money.
You think we're already on Mars?
I believe we're on Mars more than I believe we were on the moon.
So if Pakistan has $10 trillion in minerals and you pretend like space is fake, how many?
I'm not
so if
saying
you take
space
that
is fake.
same,
No,
I just
nobody
don't
says
believe
space
we
is
landed
fake.
on
take
the
that
moon.
same landmass as Pakistan
Says space is.
and you put it in Mars, and you have
Hold on a
autonomous
second.
mining machines.
Well, hold on a second. Y'all think we
Did
already
you say
on
time
Mars?
machines?
Autonomous mining.
Oh,
machine.
mining machines. I'm sorry.
I'm saying you think we're already on Mars?
Yeah, there's
as
some
we speak.
expensive stuff on the moon, and
Bro, Mars has so much resources.
I understand that, but I'm
Go
saying
in
you
there and
thinking
get
that
your
we're
way.
already there. Hold on a second. I'm not talking about that. Before you go past that, you're saying that you believe that we're already on Mars.
Dude, check out this freaking vehicle that Admiral Byrd took to Alaska or Antarctica with him. Now, the first thing you're gonna think
Hold on a
of,
second. Hold
first,
on a
hold on,
second.
first thing you're gonna think is just like me, aliens.
The
All right,
aliens
but
is another
I just
fake
want
thing.
no. I
No,
want
I
to hear
mean
Jay
the
Dollar.
thing they drove around on in Aliens. Remember?
Jay Dollar, do you,
Oh.
Right?
Jay
Look at that
Dollar,
thing.
I want to make sure I heard this correctly. You believe that we're already on Mars. Did I hear that correctly?
And commerce is already being exchanged.
Did it?
Yeah.
Are you? Yes. So yes. That's a yes.
What do you mean commerce? Commerce with whom?
Other powers.
yeah, that's
So
why
that's
they're
so
trying to
that's a
thin out
yes.
the population so they can keep all the resources and stuff to themselves.
But that is a yes, though, right?
Okay, I'll just tell you straight up. Freaking Lance
Is that a yes?
Armstrong and all those guys, they did not land on the freaking moon. That was
Bro,
bull crap.
The moon.
It was
the moon is around-
1964. They did not have the technology to get to the moon. Is it possible we've been to the moon since then? Maybe. I don't think, but nobody seems to have bothered.
But I thought I heard somebody say that we're already on Mars, and I'm asking you.
I don't think
is-
we're on Mars. I think there's rovers on Mars. I think
No.
there's.
Oh, yeah. There's rovers on Mars. I agree with that.
I think
We
about
all
it.
see
Dude.
photos of
You
that.
think? Hold on. You think that literally we had spacemen on the moon in 1964, or not 1964 in
Think
Yeah, it was
technology is far more advanced than we think. And
I want to believe it.
you believe
I don't think we
that-
went to the moon.
that the people on the moon were having an actual phone call in real time with no delay with Richard Nixon in like
I don't believe
1970.
no,
See, that
I don't
means
think-
it was all freaking fake, dude.
I
no.
don't think we went to the moon.
So you think the later one was fake, but the earlier one was real?
No. I think it was all a game.
So it was all fake.
No, we're on the moon for sure. But
No, not now. Not now. The original
That makes sense.
the original landing on the moon. Do you
The
believe that?
original moon landing was a fraud.
I believe Mike. I'm with
that
Mike
all
on that.
looked like a joke.
I'm with
Stanley
Mike on-
Kubrick admitted to faking it. He admitted to being hired by NASA to fake the moon landing. He's on film saying it.
You can
Buzz Aldrin is on film saying we never went to the moon.
Yep.
You can mine the moon easier than you can mine under the ocean.
I don't care.
What the
I'm not
fuck-
saying
what,
we.
what are you
I'm not
talking
saying
about?
we
Mike?
can't
Oh my
go
God,
now.
this dude drives me insane. He drives me
Yeah.
insane.
I'm not
That's
saying we
true.
can't go now, and I'm not saying we haven't been there ever. I'm saying that the freaking 1960 was it 64,
The
69
initial
moon
moon
landing
landing
was
didn't
motherfucking
happen.
faked. That was bull crap, and we did it because freaking Russia was already in space, and they were embarrassing us, and we were in the middle of an arms race, and we had to come up with something to make it look like we were better and smarter and faster than Russians, and it was all baloney.
And that's not even like trying to like stretch reality, because if you think about it, the fake sinking of the Lusitania, it's not like that we haven't done it before. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's never been the Lusitania sinking, Star Wars. I don't think we
man.
went.
My family worked for NASA. I don't know what to say.
And you know what your family was? Compartmentalized. Do you know why they
I don't know what to
compartmentalized?
say.
I had a friend that worked at NASA too. Everything at NASA is compartmentalized, so nobody knows what everybody else is doing. You're just like, oh, I'm working on this widget for the moon rover. Yeah, right.
Yeah, my granddad worked on the helmets.
The helmets. Oh, yeah, that means they absolutely went to the moon because your granddad worked on helmets.
Dang, brutal, Mike.
Bro, you got nothing on what I
That's
got.
awesome. Oh,
You flip that around. I'll go flip around some pictures of the people that got nuked in Nagasaki.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone. I want to get back to Jay Dollar. Do
So
you
you're
think
saying all these
that
astronauts are fake?
do
Everything
you
going on.
think that do you believe there are humans on Mars? Jay Dollar, I can swear I heard you say that.
Yeah. Big
You believe
business.
you believe that humans? No, I'm not. No, I'm being serious. You believe that humans are actually on Mars as we speak?
Yep. Big business.
All right, cool beans, bro.
man, I just
All
remember.
these astronauts, they're all fake.
I just remember talking about Mars. I just remember
Every astronaut is fake.
over the decades, as I
What?
looked into it, they keep making the trip longer and longer for some reason. Because I remember initially, if they timed it right, they could get there in 4 months, and then they keep moving it back to like 6 months, 7 months, 9
This is all
months.
fake. Look, no stars because there's no atmosphere to refract the light.
No. I'm not talking about that. No, I'm being serious. Do you believe that humans are on Mars? 'Cause I thought I heard you say that like we're already on Mars. I ain't talking about the rovers. I'm not talking about the
These
rovers.
NASA photos are all fake.
No. Do you believe that there are humans on Mars already?
Buzz Aldrin, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
he does.
Why
He
has
said it.
nobody been to the moon?
Just saying, bro. Come on. Come on.
That's not an 8-year-old's question. My question.
All right. Well, I mean, Hope you don't make fun of me. Like, I hope you're not trolling me. and then
TJ.
trying to make fun of me.
Oh my gosh, TJ, you're freaking ruining the punchline.
But I think
Come on. Is it
TJ,
for real
shut
or is it
up!
not?
go there, and
Oh my gosh,
But
TJ,
I
be quiet
think
for
I know.
5 seconds.
because we didn't go there,
We
and
didn't go there,
that's the way it happened.
That's the
and
way
if
it happened.
didn't happen.
and it didn't
It's
happen.
nice to know why it didn't happen. So, in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going. But I
And he's saying because business stopped it. That's what he's saying, dude.
He said we didn't go there.
I
Wait,
think
what
I
was the
heard.
little girl's question? Why he answered that? I missed that. I couldn't hear that part.
He said, "Why haven't we been back to the moon?"
Oh, good. Oh, that is funny.
Because the private industry took it over.
Private industry would have got there faster.
Hey,
No.
look, it's been real.
Yeah, right, dude.
Um,
How much faster have we gone since NASA kind of like closed up shop and Elon Musk took up front?
Don't take this the wrong way. I really enjoyed talking to y'all. And look, it's cool.
I'm not saying
We-
NASA's not a thing,
we're-
bro. My friend of mine worked at NASA.
if
But
you're
like I
telling me
said,
that we're
everything-
already on Mars,
Everything at NASA is compartmentalized so that nobody knows what everybody else is doing, and it's all.
I'm gonna go ahead and
smoke and
slide
mirrors
Mike.
about
Yo, J Dollar, what's up? Mike,
What do you think?
what's
What do you
up?
think they're funding
Um,
then, Mike? I mean,
I'm trying to say goodbye.
oh,
Good night.
Goodbye, Mike. Yeah, good night. Good night, fellas.
later.
Later.
Sorry, I didn't know he was trying to leave. I'm curious. Like, this is all freaking curious to me. So, what do you speculate that they want all that funding for? Like, just out of curiosity. I mean, it could be. I believe that it could be just them getting
Well, I don't think NASA doesn't do anything else.
right. No, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the exciting part. Is what could they be doing then with
They're doing
their time and
probably-
money?
They're probably doing a bunch of black ops stuff that we have no idea.
Yeah,
about.
that's what I'm getting at. Yeah, could be.
Yeah. Is that somebody's basement?
No, it's my
Dang,
grandpa.
bro, how do you?
Was your grandpa? What was he
Yeah.
doing?
He was the
He's ready to
first
take
human who did the centrifuge.
I believe in
Exciting.
centrifuges. This is the funniest thing to me because you have a family connection to this. This is the one conspiracy theory you're not on board with.
Because I have a NASA and Navy family, and my dad was, bro. I grew up with this. Like, there's no.
Yeah, but you can ask them because, like I said, I have a buddy, Bruce. He used to work at NASA. Everything there is compartmentalized.
Apollo mission, bro.
Everything there is compartmentalized. You could ask your family, every single member of your family, what they actually knew about what their thing, and they'll say whatever their particular compartment was. They did
My
not.
grandfather.
Nobody
was-
knew.
My grandfather was a Navy doctor, and
Okay.
he also worked for NASA. But his when he was in the Navy, it was helmet technology. So he would do training recruits. This is discharge paper.
So you believe in NASA. You don't think NASA lies to us.
NASA, it's NASA's job to lie to you.
Why do I bother?
That's a good
Why do you-
answer.
like, Here's my grandpa, Congress of the United States,
Hey, oh,
Jerry Kingsmill.
your grandpa was part of the machine, Jay.
My grandpa was a good old Mason.
Dang.
And I have his ring right here.
He was a Mason too,
Absolutely.
dang.
bro.
He was in NASA, bro. What do you
33 degree?
Man, Masons were in everything.
Yeah. Jay, I'm starting to think you're the disinformation campaign.
I'm not. I told you. So this is after the centrifuge work.
He looks dizzy.
I'm so glad I got all this because a lot of
That is freaking pretty awesome.
here's some more NASA stuff.
Dang. They are going to knock down your door for flashing all this stuff.
No, I've shown it before.
Oh, okay.
Matt, was your grandfather in the military?
Yeah, my dad was Navy. He was a nuclear specialist. Him and my uncle retired from the South Texas nuclear plant.
Here's Naval.
I've been there many
Aerospace
times.
Medical Institute paper.
My mom and my sister still live down there, right next, pretty close to it.
Mm.
That's a good old paper.
Is that on vellum?
Good old paper vapors.
That looked like vellum. Yeah, my
Here's
grandfather was
everything.
a veterinarian in World War II.
Becoming
Oh, that's
chief.
pretty cool.
He's a lieutenant colonel, dude. You know what the retirement is on that?
Pretty good.
Pretty
I don't know.
good.
I do not know.
My granddad was a part of. Here's something to my grandpa from Jimmy Carter.
Oh, crap. Oh,
He was involved with a lot of the stuff like what John McCain was involved with, like when he was
Ugh.
a pretend, when he was a pretend POC, POW.
Rhaegar wants me to ask Jay what he thinks about the congressional hearings and Senate hearings on aliens and UFOs.
I think it's all a distraction.
I agree. I don't think aliens exist.
Yeah.
It's it's so you remember private industry is far superior to nations, and especially if you're like European based, nation states mean nothing to you.
Well, they can be, but governments have unlimited ability to print and tax their people into like demolishing other stuff like that. So I mean, they can be if the government doesn't come in.
Well, nation states always get taken over by big money.
Right.
Big money.
I mean, that's true.
Like
too.
I said, it is, if you think, if you're not superstitious, even though that sounds a little crazy from my perspective, it is within the bounds of reality to privatize a market such as the deep sea or space for your benefit.
Mhm.
Because once you run nation states out of the fold, there's no one to fight against you.
Yeah.
So that's how Lockheed Martin, that's how Raytheon, that's how all those big boys, like, who's making our UFOs? Raytheon.
I believe
You know
so.
what I'm saying? Like, these are, like, I'm telling you, like, these are, everything I have here. This is my grandfather and the two gentlemen who were the first time ever in the centrifuge.
The CERN centrifuge.
No, the thing that spins you around.
I
in
know.
circles.
I know. I'm just messing around.
Thing that spins you around makes you throw up.
Man, did you see that video? This guy taking 9 Gs for like 10 seconds or something.
Yee.
Man, his face was all contorted without passing out.
I got it all, bro.
Man, that's cool. Man, I can't believe you have all this. I'm super. My dad passed away, so I'm like, I got to go through all of his stuff and make sure none of it ends up in the trash. I'm doing that.
You remember a lot of these guys, they're from the German Nazi paperclip team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my wife hates that. But I'm like,
So
what are they going to
you know,
do?
certain
You can't just
cases.
kill all the freaking scientists.
If you know certain faces, you'd be like, oh, paperclip. Like,
How many of them have like scars on their face?
none of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that was a thing the Nazis did to like make themselves look cool. Is they would cut their faces and then put like hay in them to cause these scarring that made them
Really?
look like they were. Yeah,
How much do you think this Neil Armstrong signed NASA photo is worth?
I don't know, but he's a fraud. He never went to the moon.
Dang.
I don't know, man.
But don't tell that to whoever you sell it to.
Oh,
Yeah, it depends on how much you're trying to get for it.
Yeah, fencing scars. That's right, Alpha Proto.
it would be wiser to train someone like Mike S. Miller to say, along with many other thousands of people, that we never went to the moon or Mars if there is a financial benefit.
Oh,
Dude,
interesting point.
Bro, there's this thing called the Van Allen
The Van Allen belt has nothing to do with
Van Allen
Mars.
belt. It's the radiation. We can't get through there without cooking their freaking pilots. They're just they didn't have enough weight
You
to
can't.
shield the pilots to get
All
through
you
there.
need is like 6 feet thick lead encapsulation, and you're fine. Bro, we've been sending stuff to space for
Yeah, but you
50,
can
60
send
years.
you
Don't
can send
think
things through space
people
that
are
radiation won't cook. People, you can't.
No, so that's not true. If you look at certain patents, especially with lead, certain thicknesses of lead can completely and utterly block all radiation.
And how thick does it have to be?
Like around 6 feet.
And how heavy is 6
It
feet?
doesn't matter.
of
You're in
lead?
space. You've had 50.
It matters
60 years,
getting it into space. Every
right?
like
And you've had 50
every
or
like
60
pound costs like.
years. So what do we keep sending in space, Mike? Satellites?
Yeah.
You really think that for just satellites?
Well, what else are you saying?
Is that realistic? So say to yourself, for the last, because this is America, we are a globe, there is commerce.
I like how you just say we are a globe.
So
We
for
are the globe.
50 or 60 years that NASA and Germany and Japan and recently India and those other areas are only sending satellites into space. Nothing else.
I mean, commercially, what else would you? Satellites for communication is
Well,
like.
so the International Space Station took 20 or 30 years to build, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Think that's real?
How many
You think that's real?
trips did it take to build the International Space Station?
National.
It's like 20 or 30 years to, because remember, they're always updating it. But essentially, 20 to 30 years to build, right?
Mm-hmm. Hold on, I'm trying to find this particular reel of International Space Station bloopers where there's obviously green screens.
Strategically,
Talking about
it's
the ones with
unrealistic.
monkey suits.
Let's see.
Man, this is wild talk, man. I love it. I don't know what's going on.
You're not supposed to know what's going on. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's
Make
true.
you stupid, make you not believe in space, make you think the world is flat, make you think Michelle Obama.
I mean, yeah, and honestly, whenever I think about stupid stuff, like not to go back to where we were earlier, whenever they're just trying to enrage people about men going into girls' bathrooms and stuff like that, I just think so much is a distraction. You really gotta just focus and try and iron out that goodness. So much of what they're trying to do with, and I believe like thin out the population, keep us sick, working to keep ourselves alive from all the ways in which they keep us sick, just to keep us,
So over the last 20 or 30 years in space, all we have built is satellites in the International Space Station. We haven't done anything else.
I don't know. What are you suggesting?
Commercially. It's This is, remember, we're talking from a commercial business perspective.
I know. What are you suggesting?
That we.
I think, I mean, you could say that, but it's like, bro, how much money have they spent on information technologies? Satellites transferring information is a huge, huge, huge business.
I'm just saying.
Okay, but you're not saying anything.
If you think that there is only one international space station, you should call yourself naive. You have to think about it from a realistic perspective. It is completely irrational to think that we've only built one international space station. It doesn't make sense. That does not make sense.
That's probably true.
You know what doesn't make sense? This woman's hairdo.
Whoa. What are they saying?
I don't know, but look at her hair.
No, I mean, what did you get this video off of a specific place where they allege a certain reason why?
Yeah, it's a video. Oh no, I was just clicking through it, and the woman's hair was killing me.
No, I'm not going to space ever because it doesn't take long in space to really weaken you and mess with your blood pressure and everything.
I think that's fear porn. I think it's fear porn.
You may be right, but of course, I don't think we're supposed to go anywhere right now. I believe in God, and I think we're just supposed to stay here for a while. I mean, don't get me wrong. What I believe happens after this, it's going to be incredible. Like, I believe we're going places in the universe.
I don't understand why her hair looks like that.
She may have done like this before she. Look, because remember, NASA, it's not
She
NASA's
looks like
job.
freaking Yahoo Serious.
Yeah, you're distracting from your lesson, lady. Your hair is literally messing me up from whatever you're trying to convey with the water.
It's like she hairsprayed her hair out to look like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hair doesn't just naturally flow into a freaking fro. It doesn't make any sense.
So you think that if we got in space, it wouldn't weaken us in any way, or
weaken your bones after a while.
I think muscles. Well, gravity has something to do with your bone density. I do agree, but I think they've solved those problems.
I'll explain the water. I'm not saying we are not in space, Rhaegar. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that for some weird reason, there's a bunch of NASA videos that are obviously faked.
No, I remember.
I don't understand it.
Speaking, going on what you're saying, Mike, man, I
don't understand her hair.
There's an absurd amount of videos out there that are clearly photoshopped, where they got like copy and paste in the same clouds and photos and evidence that they're just taking photos of the certain rocky deserts and on Earth and all this other stuff. I mean, they make a really compelling argument that we've never been up there.
Well, I don't know that that's the right conclusion.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying
they understand.
They put out a lot of stuff.
Disinformation is an artwork unto itself, right? Like the lettered agencies are masters at disinformation to cause people to misunderstand even what is true by giving us information about the stuff that is true that is not true to make it look like the stuff that is true isn't true.
Yeah.
It's like Machiavellian crazy.
No, it may be Machiavellian, but I guarantee you it's all commerce based.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest takeaway.
I
can get behind that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest takeaway I think people always negate when they are faced with these questions. Like, you don't understand the amount of money that can be made.
Honey to space.
it's beyond comprehension.
I believe no. When it comes down to it, I believe it's all coming down to these people think that they're gonna make a technological breakthrough that's gonna allow them to live forever, and now they need to preserve all the resources, so they need to thin out the population and keep all the resources to themselves
Nah,
to live forever.
I
I
personally
think that's what they think. I think that may be part of it too, maybe a small part. I don't really know. I think it
Yeah.
could be a bunch of things. It's all
I
speculation.
believe there's fear porn behind it, but you cannot
Sure.
put away the fact that people do want to live forever. So that is completely within reason.
Yeah, but honestly,
That's completely
it's
within
fun to
reason.
just speculate and because there's something going on, and a lot of it is distractions. A lot of it.
That's not a rat.
Yeah, it's a piece of tin foil or something.
Are these videos from not whistleblowers, the conspiracy theorists and whistleblowers and stuff like that? Like the fly on the Mars rover.
Yeah, but you can't trust none of that, bro. You cannot.
I know.
trust
I know.
them.
I'm just saying. I just bring it up for weird reasons. It's who knows. There's so much out there.
I think for countries like Brussels, London, Paris, Italy, DC, areas in Japan and China, it is within their interest to keep this very tight knit.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very important because because think about it contractually, because remember all this stuff is done off contracts. So if you trick a whole world to think that this is a joke, the amount of money that you can make while everyone thinks it's, this is a joke that's going on you can hit some of these people are hitting $1 trillion, like Saudi Arabia, their sovereign wealth fund. They're the main sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia.
They want to put $500 billion in a Bitcoin.
Well, I know, but that wealth fund is worth trillions. Trillions.
There are stars in this video, Alpha.
So imagine. So for 30 or 40 years, this is
Oh yeah, wait. J Dollar, how come we can see stars in this video?
You can't see stars. You're out of the
Good.
atmosphere.
I just freaking
No, you didn't.
look behind them. Stars.
That's the moon.
Is that the moon?
Star.
There's no stars.
Are
I
you?
don't.
I can't
Maybe
see
you're.
very good.
Hold on. Let me full screen it.
Oh, I think I see it.
Star. Hold on. Let me go back. Star. How come you could see the stars in this video, but you couldn't see them in the 1969 moon landing?
You're still in the atmosphere.
J Dollar.
Because photography
You're not in the
technology
atmosphere.
wasn't
This is space.
as good as today.
If they were in the atmosphere, they wouldn't be floating.
Bro, this is like 8K. They had like
Oh my gosh, dude.
0.0003K back in the day.
Bruh. I see pitch blackness and no. Are you serious?
There's no stars.
All right. Here, I'll
And
put
a
the freaking
camera.
video. You
Yeah,
guys can watch
I
it.
could barely see them, but
Oh, I can
they're-
see them.
it's just your videos. It's I can see them. Have to really.
Anyways, all right. It's 1:45. I'm gonna wrap this up.
All right.
Thanks everybody
Yeah,
for coming on and talking
Let's
great
do the-
conspiracy theories and
bring on
more
the drama more often. Yeah.
with the drama crew, J Dollar and Matthew
liked it.
Weldon.
Man, I
Thank
like
y'all.
flipping through that book of all that. I mean, that was pretty freaking wild. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Michael.
Yeah, buddy.
Jay.
Yes, sir.
God bless
Need
us,
these
everyone.
spaceships.
Go buy Bitcoin. Bye.
Oh crap.
Sell your Bitcoin. Buy at 26,000.